Good morning, everybody. I'm going to do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for
Yes.
the thumbs up. And
Yes.
I know the rest of us, everybody is looking at the chat. I had asked if you joined just now, how many of you got snow? So we know some of you are still looking out the window and seeing snow. And for those of us who live up in the very northern part of the state, to see snow at the beach is just crazy. I hope you enjoyed that little music montage. We're going to just pretend that's like Bay Minette or someplace down south because it has just been so beautiful. I hope everybody is staying warm and safe. I am surrounded by many of our State Department colleagues, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a minute. But if you would, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one so we can make sure that we are knowing that you were here. Katrina, is there anything that you need to tell our folks today?
Good morning. Yes, we're going to drop a link in the chat so that you're able to record your attendance and let us know who is online and what district and all you are representing. So if you would pay attention to the chat and just acknowledge, let us know who you are on the Google Doc. Thank you very much and welcome.
And we do know we have some that just like to just join or watch through our live YouTube channel. So if you are watching through YouTube and you don't have access to the Zoom chat, we got you. If you go to this slide, you can put your questions on this form. It'll just take you to a separate form. And we did this in our 2 live sessions. We had to cancel. We were supposed to be down south yesterday. We had to cancel that meeting, but we have been answering questions live on this other document. And you can see in our previous CNI meetings, some of those really good questions that we've received, a few of them, we're still getting some clarity on exactly what did you mean, and also just checking with other sections because some of the questions kind of fell out of our umbrella, but we want to make sure we get those questions answered. So at any time that you want to ask a question, yeah, use the chat or put it on that form. I don't have to tell you because, I hope it is very helpful to you to receive the slides ahead of time. Is that something that you appreciate? Or would you rather us just sling it at you on the day of the CNI meeting? Yeah, so I've been on the other side of that. And I am so old. Let me look at the room. Let me see if I see old folks in the room who have decided to put their cameras on anyway. Do you remember in the olden days of CNI meetings, you would get there and you get like a paper copy? Do you remember that? Yeah. And then you couldn't get slides. I mean, it's a different time. So Julie Hanna was leading the CNI meetings when I was a curriculum director, and I think she is amazing. But it was just technology, it was just different. And we couldn't get the slides until I think all of the sessions had completed. And by then, like 2 weeks later, like I can't even remember what my question was. So we felt like it would be really helpful for you, also helpful for us because we're able to field some questions before we even have our meeting. So we hope that you find those slides helpful. But if you've looked at the slides, there are a lot of them. And we do that for a couple reasons. We go ahead and put some stuff that we know you can read it, so we're not going to read it for you, but are just additional information. So do know that we are not going to be covering all of these slides. We had friends from other sections that actually fall outside of the Office of Student Learning who know that so many of you wear many hats. When I was a curriculum director, I did too. I was the weather person, going on top of hills to see how icy it was. And then I was also the curriculum person. So when we had meetings, I was in a lot of different things. So we understand that. And so I really appreciate how certification has provided slides. Accountability has provided slides, and others have as well. So just know that those are there for you. And if you need to, say tag your it to a colleague to share those with them. All that said, so this is our general run, and I just got to shout out to the OSI, excuse me, the ALSDE team, that somehow by some small miracle, we have actually finished early. If you can believe that, every session that we've had. So we'll see how we do virtually. And just to make your lives easier, we just go ahead and hyperlink to where those slides are. So as you are using these again, these will be on our OSL page. Also the link to this recording will be on that page as well. But, and we do still plan, even though we're virtual, to take a little comfort break after AMSTI. And so, Jeff, if you are on, I moved the break until after Ms. Jones speaks. There's so many great things I want to share with you, but for time's sake, because I'm trying to model what I share with my team, some of you had sent me messages that you had seen initially when the slides came out. I was telling the team like too many slides. So we're going to have to like cool it down so that one, our folks don't have a heart attack when they see them. And two, we know we're sending them to you. So we get to just relax. We want to be able, when we do these meetings in person or virtually, we don't want to be rushed. We want you to really let us kind of bloom where we're planted with these slides and then ask questions as we go along. But I did hide a few things. So there are other great things, but something that just happened within the last month is we just found out we have 220 new nationally board certified teachers. Are any of you in BCTs in the room? Can we see a heart or a raised hand or a yes? I saw Becky. I can't see everybody because I got you on multiple screens. I know Miss Bonnie Short is an MBCT. Have any of you gone through the MOC process, the renewal process? I'm looking, I see some yeses. Becky, yes, Becky, yes. Yeah, so we had 221. They're really called MOC in the national board world, but we know that it just means they renewed their certification. So we're really excited about that. And if you are aware, Alabama has been like number 5, kind of varying between 4 and 5 for the number of new MBCTs. So we're about to find out where we fall on that spectrum again. Just some amazing data with advanced placement that we wanted to share. I know last time we were talking about some really exciting data with our NAEP and with chronic absence and graduation rates. So I was thinking, like, what are some things I've not shared with you? And Sean and Dr. Robinson, and I mean, really our whole team really worked to support how we can better help our students who are on a trajectory to college. And I just wanted you to see this because I know so much of what you do, and many of you directly supervise advanced placement. But I wanted you to see that we gave almost 6,500 more exams. Excuse me, let me backtrack. Almost 6,500 more students, or exams, I should say, received a qualifying score of 3 or higher. That is amazing. I want you to look at the numbers of students who are taking the exam to see how much we have grown. In the following slides, you will see the tremendous growth that our African-American students experience, that our Hispanic Latino students experience in 1 year. It is just so positive. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing to provide opportunities and close gaps for children. For our students who are on free reduced lunch, I just wanted you to see that too. I mean, is that not amazing? 90% growth for our students who are free reduced lunch students. And we're seeing 303% growth for those kids getting qualifying scores, you know, since this work really started around 2014. I have other exciting news. How many of you have noticed that the State Department, particularly OSL, has gone Google? Have any of you noticed that? Have you started seeing, like, we've been sending you stuff? I think I shared that this might be a possibility in maybe a previous group. And then a few months back, I'm gonna have to see Bonnie. Bonnie's got hearts. Bonnie has got all kinds of hearts because we had been having some trouble with, you know, the OneDrive and links just not doing what we needed them to do. And so working with our IT department, Dave Pope, who is incredible, and I was sharing with him how many of you, I think what I said, I remember exactly what I said, that when we give folks like you a PDF, it's just mean. because what do teachers want to do? Like, give it to me so I can do what, right? Like, I want to pull my slides out that I want to be able to edit it. I want to be able to use what Dr. Anderson said and make this like our mantra for whatever. So, is several months back, but he texted me, said, I'm meeting with the Google folks. And I texted him back. I said, are you punking me? And so we now have the Google Apps. We are using the Google Suite. We have new websites. And so on that, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But if we really loved our previous website, but I wanted to make it more mobile friendly. I wanted to make it more accessible. So we just a few months ago created a brand new, it's our second brand new Office of Student Learning website with the same mindset that you should be able to find what you need within 3 clicks. And if you can't find what you need within 3 clicks, then you need to message me and I need to fix that. So and this is still growing. We're so proud of this. I am not going to steal Sue Ellen Gillen's thunder in a minute, but she's going to share some other exciting things for you and your teachers. I'm so excited about. Bonnie, if you saw all her little hearts, I was really excited when we got our OSL website. We're getting some we're able to track that we can see from cities, like what cities are visiting this website the most. So we're really watching the analytics. And so Bonnie team created an amazing website. Several of our sections have started to do that and they're awesome. And so Bonnie and I were looking at the analytics and I think ARI's had like twice as many views as our OSL page. Not offended at all, Bonnie, but very excited to be able to say, here's our stuff. The way we are pitching these additional sites is the State Department site is a great site to hold really static information, right? Memos, it's a great place for stakeholders, but you and teachers want the live stuff. You want the dynamic things, the things that are changing and coming and going. They don't have to go through the series of vetting that, more formal documents do. So Dave's team, our IT team, have pinned I love that. We're calling this an extranet, not an intranet, but an extranet, which is just a place for you and for your teachers to be able to say, I need this. So please check it out, bookmark it. If you're using the old one, I need you just forget that one and go to this one. I'm looking real quick for questions because I'm trying to stay on time. Look at me being 3 minutes early. And I'm going to pass it over to Sean. And Sean, I'll be manning, Katrina and I'll be manning the text messages, the chat, and let you guys know as we get questions. It's great to see everyone. Stay warm. Sean, all yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Shields. Good morning, everyone. So glad that you're able to join us. I hate that we weren't able to be in person in South Alabama yesterday, but we'll certainly try to find a way to reschedule for another visit toward somewhere close to that new Baldwin Prep school that so many of us are excited to finally get to see. I hope you're having a great semester and hope that you're able to be able to look forward to the summer and next year and able to really work with your staff and teachers and students and families to help prepare and plan for various things in your school system. So a couple things from instructional services that I want to share. The first being, and Dr. I don't think I can advance the slides for us. The first thing to bring your attention to is just how important the Ed Directory is and how important it is that your staff are actually positioned based on various roles. Of course, Ed Directory controls so many things, but one of the most important things that controls are our email distribution list. And so I know that in many school systems, it's, the superintendent secretary or someone at the central office who's responsible for maintaining the Ed Directory. But I wanted to lift that up and ensure that all of you are in our position in the curriculum groups as well as some of the others. And just a reminder that you can have multiple people positioned in various position within Ed Directory. And we just want to make sure that the right people are getting the information. And so, of course, all this managed locally. Wanted to just bring that to your attention and try to help us out with ensuring as much as possible that the right people are positioned in Ed Directory, because we want the information to get to those people. So I'm happy to answer questions about Ed Directory, and I know Stacy will talk about it a little bit later on in her part too. We're
Uh-oh, Sean, I think we lost your sound. Okay, I may just pop in here for Sean until y'all hear his booming voice. Yes, thank you, Ann. I was struggling too. It's not just you. I'll just go ahead and pick up and then let Sean pop in. Super excited about the upcoming state textbook adoptions. And one, I don't know if you watched that board meeting, but both the social studies course of study, our fine arts course of study passed unanimously. If Bonnie was standing beside me, she would tell you, what would you say, Bonnie? I'll let you unmute and tell everybody.
There was a round of applause at the state board meeting, of which I have never seen a round of applause at the end of a state board meeting.
It happened. It did. It was the social studies course study is amazing. I'm a social studies teacher as well, and just I'm really, really proud of it. The fine arts course of study, it's just everything came together so beautifully. And I just have to shout out to Andy Meadows and Dr. Blake Busman for leading that work. It was awesome. And so many teachers that came together. So we're working to get those state textbook adoptions ready for you. Know that we're putting a committee together. So you see what we're needing for that group. So important that we're able to get this information out to the schools. I will tell you something that we're doing that I don't know that I've shared with you. So we have, if you go to our OSL page, and I'll put the link in there when I quit talking, but we have a page that just shows all of our teachers across the state who have won state awards. And it's really helpful for us. So like I see we need social studies and arts teachers. We're able to go back and say who this year won a social studies award, who won, and we really want these people to become, we want to elevate their voices because many of you have won awards, you know, in your career as classroom teachers, and you're like, congratulations, Selena, you get this award. And then you get your trophy, you get your certificate, and then you're done. We really wanted to say, no, we're going to let these teachers be a cohort of leaders for our state. Yes, the Alabama Teachers of the Year. If Jeff Norris is online, which I know he is somewhere, this is really work that he was a former Alabama Teacher of the Year. I'm like, let's do something so that every year we have this group. So you have that list. If you were like, I want to know who in the state won an award in English or in math or in technology, on our OSL page, we just have a running list of all of these amazing people. So we will be definitely pulling from that list for these committees. I don't see Sean yet, so y'all just please interrupt me.
Shields, if you can see me or hear me. Can you?
Yes, I can. All yours, babe.
My Zoom decided to just crash in the middle of my sentence. So yeah, I'm back. Thank you for covering for me. Yes, we certainly want to lift up and celebrate all of our teacher accomplishments, and hopefully we can continue to find ways to honor all the great work that's being done in our schools. So if you know of someone or something that we're not recognizing, please let us know, and we'll certainly add that to our list, because we know that our education is not something we're not normally wants to toot our own horns. And so we want to help toot them for everyone and really celebrate those great things. Dr. Shields had already mentioned in the beginning just how proud we are of the success we've had with the advanced placement program, just in the last school year, with not only just the number of students participating, but exams taken, but then also the number of students who are earning a qualifying score on on one or more of our exams, and how that actually equates to college savings, so that they don't have to ultimately enroll in courses when they get to college. But it also all starts with a really great foundation, and that starts well before they take their first AP course. And so one of the things that you'll notice in the information when you click on the slides, or if you navigate using the QR code, you'll see that there are several things upcoming with AP. Number one, preparing for the digital exams this spring, also looking at expanding pre-AP to schools that are interested in offering that to their students. But then also, one of the things that we're very excited about is that this year the department will actually pay for the AP exams for the following AP courses and AP exams. First, AP Computer Science Principles, and then AP Pre-Calculus, as well as AP Seminar. We're excited that those three courses are kind of our priority courses for this year. And so we will actually be funding those exam fees directly with the College Board. So you won't actually see those coming to your individual districts or school bills. And so just wanted to make sure you are aware of that and that you were able to share that information with your school principals, your counselors, your AP coordinators, and most importantly, your teachers and students, so that that they know that those three courses, because they're a priority for this year, that the department will be paying for those exams. Also, just a reminder on your AP exams that many of you wrote into your college and career readiness grants that you would be paying for your students' AP exam fees for using those funds. So our expectation, of course, is that you honor that and that we're able to meet the needs of our students through various ways. And so we're really excited about being able to expand and again, be able to fund those AP exam fees for these students in those courses, and really excited about that. Hopefully we'll be able to continue to do that in years to come. It may actually change AP courses and AP exams from year to year, but hopefully we'll be able to continue to support those AP exam fees in your districts at some in some way or another. I know that many of you have joined today because you're anticipating us talking about the workforce pathway. We have several slides here that just we're able to share some information, and we actually have a superintendent memo that's coming through Dr. Mackey's office that should be distributed, ready to post within the next few days, that will highlight several key details about the workforce pathway, as well as some changes to college and career readiness indicators. But then also it'll have details and information about an upcoming webinar where we'll be able to actually answer questions specific to the workforce pathway, have some time to really talk about the pathway, be able to kind of explore what things your district should be thinking about, how to implement it. First, we have links to the actual act itself, as well as the amended language that the state board took action back in December. So part of the reason for the delay in being able to share any information is because it did take the state boards to take action in order to change the administrative code. We've got the links to both of those documents here on the slide. We're also collecting questions to kind of help guide our FAQ guidance. And so by all means, please go ahead and submit questions that you have that you aren't sure what the answers are yet, because not only will someone else have that same question, but it'll actually help us to collate and really think through all of the guidance that we'll be providing to our districts. The key things for you to consider, number one, is that the workforce pathway would potentially be available for students next year. So you would potentially have seniors that might want to pursue option B for the workforce pathway. But most importantly, what you should be thinking about now as a district leader is what kind of procedures should we put in place that ensures that students and their families, that the school administration, that everyone's involved in those decisions of when the student decides that they want to actually move from option A, which is the general regular diploma, the one that we're used to, that we've had since the class of 2017, or move to option B. And so we want to make sure we got all the players, the key players at the table, and what kind of documentation will be necessary for you to be able to work with those students and their families about those decisions. So again, forthcoming memo from Dr. Mackey soon, and then of course a webinar coming up just next week. Here's a snapshot of the two options. Of course, option A is that traditional one, the one that we've had for some time. You'll notice nothing changed, of course, in it. But option B, you'll notice for the workforce pathway, students are only required to earn 2 credits in science, which they must earn a credit in biology, as well as a physical science, which is, of course, physical science, chemistry, or physics. Students also are only required to earn 2 credits in mathematics, which is geometry with data analysis, and also algebra 1 with probability. For students who have completed 7th and 8th grade accelerated in middle school, those students obviously would have to earn credit in geometry as well as algebra 2. And so thinking about, the science and math, you may have kind of different groups of kids depending on if they completed accelerated in middle school or not. You'll notice that health, career preparedness, and beginning kinesiology went unchanged. However, option B does require that students earn 3 credits in an approved program of study within career and technical education, meaning that students will be required to actually take 3 courses, earn 3 credits in a sequence, ultimately the other remaining electives can come from any of the cores, from career tech, world languages, arts education, and or any other electives. And so you can see that with the visual, just the difference between the 2 options. Again, option B only requires 2 science and 2 math as opposed to 4 and 4. It also requires that students earn 3 credits in career and technical education in an approved program of study. And as a reminder, the the approved programs of study come directly from the program guides that Career Tech keeps updated and in the hands of district leaders each year.
Sean, just a couple quick questions,
Please.
and I'm putting these on our overall document because we have a whole section on just this option B. A couple questions is what to call it. And we are calling it is option B. Dr. Mackey has requested this is not another diploma. I think the next slide is there's just one high school diploma. So this is just an option for them. There was a question, Sean, about can guidance be given about I said that wrong, the Athletic Association requirements. And I shared with them, we have been meeting with them, so that is coming as well. We immediately, thanks to folks who are helping us really think through the language and the law, what implications it could have for athletics as well. So that is coming. The meeting next week, if the memo goes out, the way things work at the department, we got to get a memo out to the superintendents, and then we can share more information with y'all. That is just the structure we have in place. The superintendents get it first. So we might be a bit ambitious, but we have our slides, our presentation is ready to roll on sharing the ins and outs of this new opportunity for students. So as soon as that memo goes through, then we'll be able to stick with the date. But right now we tentatively have scheduled, I think, for next Thursday, if the memo and everything gets through, in time.
And that would be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll also record that webinar and have it available, after the conclusion of it.
William Jones asked, hey, William, will the 6.5 credits be any combination of those classes? Yes, absolutely.
Any credit bearing course.
Yes.
So not just from math or science, really from any of the 4 cores, from world languages, arts, career tech, and other electives. Anything that earns a credit.
And we do have several and some groups watching on YouTube. So for those of you who are watching the streaming, remember you got that link. So we're watching your questions as well.
Just a reminder from Jonathan with Health and Physical Education Newsletter and PD. Of course, the ACEFord Spring Conference is upcoming in April. Excited about the professional learning opportunities for your health and physical education teachers. Also, just want to give a shout out to all of our OSL sections and those that are always trying to celebrate the great things that are going on in our schools. And I know Jonathan is certainly one of those who likes to share and celebrate great things that are going on regarding health and physical education. Would love for you to reach out to him when you see something great or you know that something amazing is happening in your teacher's classroom, so that we can lift those up and share those with others. Have a link to the 24-25 attendance manual. Of course, many of you are not only familiar with it, but use it regularly. And so wanted to make sure you had a direct link to that. Of course, attendance is such an important piece of a student's education, because if they're not there, they can't learn. Just wanted to mention a couple of things about both the attendance manual and just attendance in general. You'll notice that each year we're able to update, several parts of it, including those attendance codes that you utilize at the school level, to try to always clarify information, or if we've gotten questions over the last year, so that we can help continue to be as clear as we possibly can. Just wanted to mention, Alabama is the state with the lowest chronic absenteeism rate in the country. And I know some of you may giggle about that, but it's true, at least according to one important source that says that. But I know that we can always do better, and there's so many opportunities for us to really put some best practices in place. We're proud of the work that many of you are doing using your Stronger Connections grants. I know there are 30 districts that were awarded those grants a couple years ago, where attendance was a priority area for your activities and expenditures. And so just want to make sure you could get to that attendance manual, and that that you're able to help those at the school level ensure they're making the right decisions. Did just want to mention, one important piece of this, of course, is the integrity of the data. And so I know as curriculum leaders, you're always looking at data, but also just want to bring your attention to this number of schools that maybe are using a lot of local use codes for things like attendance or discipline, when in fact those are really they're really found somewhere else, or should be found somewhere else using a different code. And so we're really taking a look at so much, and the integrity of the data is so important, because so much of this is federally reported, and it holds us accountable to the people in our communities. And so I just wanted to lift that up, talking about data and data integrity. So it's not always just about students' records and transcripts and grades, but it is also about their attendance and discipline. And so just wanting you to help us have those conversations locally about how school administrators are utilizing the codes appropriately. I know the next slide actually kind of highlights our successes we've had with attendance, our call to action to reduce chronic absenteeism by 15% across the state. You'll notice that according to AIM, the total excused absences across the state, wow, almost 1.3 million. And then the total unexcused absences across the state. We know that you're having those conversations at your district level, and then at the school levels. And hopefully attendance is always a topic of conversation in your PST meetings, and look forward to how we can utilize the tools we have, from Unified Insights to all of our campaigns work, the work with Dr. Warfield and her team, how we can help support you and your school leaders to reduce chronic absenteeism in your buildings.
Hey, Sean, backtracking just a smidge, but just so that everyone heard it. And also, if you're new, because, I forget, I joined, in the middle of the year as well, when I became a curriculum director, and felt like I knew nothing. And so just in case you are new in your role, we want to make sure that you are aware of that slide I shared earlier with our website. But probably the thing that I know as a curriculum director I would want to see the most are those running updates. So we have a page for you that is just all the stuff that's coming, which includes these slides and information. So we're not like sending you 1,000 emails all the time. So if you are new in this role, make sure you check that out, because that's where you're going to get all the stuff that's coming down the pike. And it has information from the last now going on 3 years. And you can just do a word search. I want to find information on letters training. I want to find information on the teams. So it is a truly running document of just information for you. Sean, a quick question. And it was mostly for which sciences, which maths, going back to the option B, if we would be giving some explanation about that. Dr. Mackey did share this at the last board meeting, so I feel like I'm good sharing that as well.
Sure. Yeah, as far as the 2 sciences and 2 maths that are required, again, algebra, geometry and algebra 1 for math, and biology and a physical science for science. And then those would be, of course, uniform even for the students who are on option A. Did that answer it, Dr. Shields?
Yes, and we'll put that in our Q&A as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
I hope that many of you, I hope you've been able to do, but if not, I know many of your school level, building level staff have been able to participate in youth mental health first aid training. We are, really excited about how we're able to help support that work. And I hope that you have an opportunity to go through that training because, of course, just like with CPR training, it's so important that people are able to, recognize those common mental health challenges that our students have, maybe be able to recognize some of the signs to look for, and then how to take what it is you see and find and how to help with a student on the next steps. We'll continue to provide that youth mental health first aid training. I'm proud of Tracy Goldreed, who's helped lead that work, and not only for school leaders to be trained in it, but also for us to provide an opportunity for you to have trainers themselves be trained. And so we'll continue to do that until we have at least one trainer in every LEA, so that they're able to train your staff. It's so worthwhile. It's such an amazing training, and we're really proud of the work that the team's done, but also the feedback we've gotten from our districts and how needed that this has been. So please reach out to express interest in it. We'll certainly get back with you on how we can make that available to your districts. As far as English learners, of course, many of you, I hope you all, we hear often how amazing our contract with Elevation is, and most importantly, how so many of our classroom teachers are using those instructional strategies that are in Elevation for all students, not just for our English learners. And so there's just a couple of slides, or the QR code takes you to the upcoming trainings. Of course, we'll have quite a bit of sessions that are specific to English learners at Mega, and just proud of Maria and her team and the work that they're doing to support you guys with our regional specialist and just all of the different things from Master Word and on-demand translation services. So just really trying to continue to expand how we support you and how we support our English learners in our schools. I think Dr. Shields mentioned earlier, we're very, very, very proud of the work that the task force did in order to update our library standards. There's a link, of course, to the newest library guidelines that were passed by the state board back in December. We'll also have some updated guidance, as well as some upcoming professional learning opportunities that Suzanne is working on, and just really, again, want to celebrate the work that our library programs are able to do and how they're able to help students, not only be lifelong learners, but to help support the work of our literacy initiatives, and to be a true center hub for many of our schools, for where students go to learn. And so really excited about that, and proud of the state board also adopting those unanimously. And so really excited about how to implement all of the different components of that new guidelines document. I know many of you participated in the Maxwell Leadership Foundation PD opportunities this year. Of course, we have in the upcoming February, when we have Greg Byrne, who's the Director of Athletics at the University of Alabama. So many of you joined the previous ones, from having James Spann to having Dr. Condoleezza Rice. All of these, we're so proud of that, and so happy that Dr. Mackey made this a priority. And I know that many of your students are benefiting from the iLead portion of the Maxwell work. And so please, if you're not familiar with that, reach out to us. We'll certainly get you linked up with those things and how you can actually utilize those in your schools, all the way K through 12, to build character education. Can use it in your counseling programs and advisory. There's so many great uses for that program, and I hope that we're able to continue to make that available to our districts in the coming years. But we've heard so much great feedback from it, and I know many of you have participated and shared that feedback with us as well. Really happy about that. Virtual office hours. I know that you and your staff have been able to attend these on Fridays, where we bring together leaders from ARI, OMI, and of course MTSS to work through how to support you with your various student plans, and how to utilize Unified Insights to make it a tool that's actually meaningful and useful at your district level. And so I know that Christy and the team from ARI and OMI come every Friday from 10:30 to 11:30. I hope you'll drop in if you have any questions about where we're going and how to get there. They're available on those days to really work through the very specific areas of those student plans. And I don't know, Bonnie, do you want to say anything about SHRIP specifically, or Karen, anything about that. I'm just really proud of the tool, and we continue to hear how life-changing it's becoming as a tool that people can truly use. Really
You're
excited.
good.
Yeah,
You're good. I'll talk about Shrips a little bit in just a little bit.
perfect. Doc, I'm going to let you talk about secondary PLC series. We're so excited about this opportunity to support our districts with secondary. So Doc, I'm going to let you kind of take this one.
This is, like many of you, I have a lot of passion projects. And this is one that has been on my heart since I moved into this role. But I will tell you, it's because of you that this really took root. I heard Bonnie just talking, and Dr. Anderson's gonna be joining us in a second. She's watching, but she's gonna be presenting in just a second. But they've been doing all this great work with Everyone Counts and Strong Readers, Strong Leaders. And so a lot of our secondary people were like, we want that. We want a community where we can kind of think through the things that are very centric to being a middle secondary leader. Particularly, you get a lot of questions about scheduling. How do you do intervention? What does RTI look like? I see Jeff now. What do after school opportunities, summer school? I don't know if any of you have been charged, and I know many of you have, but you are the lucky one that gets to lead summer school for the big kids in the summer. And for those of you who are just killing it, we need to talk to you, because I know when I was a curriculum director, every end of the summer, I thought I could do this better. I could do this better. I could make this better for kids. So really talking to you, thinking about, okay, where do we start? We landed on these four kind of constructs. We're going to look at instruction, curriculum, assessment, and leadership. And being a secondary person, I know secondary people, we have kind of our own way of learning PD. I see Carissa Lambert in the room. When someone says, Melissa, I want you to come speak to this group, and I go with all my fun stuff, and they're like, now I want you to go meet with a group of 11th grade, social studies teachers. Concepts are the same, but sometimes I change my delivery a bit because I don't, because I want to make sure that they feel this is relevant and engaging. And so we wanted to create a session that was very specific to that group of folks. So we're really, really excited about it. We've leaned into the research. We're pulling in lots of folks, but if this is something that you would like to participate in, you see that we have vetted this through APLDS, and this is just the beginning. We have a whole group that's been meeting over the last couple years. William Jones was helping lead that. Jeff Norris, Christy Shankles, and others with the work we're doing MTSS have really picked this up around kind of a secondary school redesign. Like, how can we think about supporting those schools and those leaders and those teachers? So this is just our starting place. We would love for you to participate. If you don't get to pop in on it now, know that this is just the beginning, that we will continue having this opportunity for you. Sean?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Shields. I'm really excited about that, the whole work surrounding secondary, and I think many of you will also be pleased with that too. I mentioned the Stronger Connections grant earlier. Just wanted a reminder to those districts who are part of that grant program that all of our awarded funds must be expended in the 25 school year. Many of you have been already getting email notifications as far as pulling down money, reporting. Our annual progress reports are due in May, and then the final one in October. And just as a reminder, that if you're a district who has decided that you in fact may not need that money or may not can utilize the money in a way that you thought you could, we would love to reallocate that to another district that is in need. And so we're also really excited about being able to celebrate all of the great activities and initiatives that were made possible because of the Stronger Connections grant, and can't wait to help celebrate those and make an opportunity for each district to learn from each other from all of those great things that have happened. So keep looking for those Stronger Connections contacts. Most of them come from Christy, but just want to bring your attention. If you can help make sure that we pull down the money, that we're spending the money, and that we're reporting the money, that would be really great. Dr. Shields.
Thanks, Sean. And I believe we have Rhett with us. So and if you guys will indulge me for just a second, Rhett, if you're unmuting, I'm going to go ahead and unhide slides because there's a few things that I know you'll want to. I think I got most of them on there. Okay, you're good. You're good. Never mind. I was making sure I did not hide any for you. Rhett, I'm going to pass it to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shields. Good morning, everyone. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time with this, but I did want to make you guys aware of some things. I'm the guy at the department who fields pretty much all the questions on PowerSchool Professional Learning. So hopefully you're aware that after almost exactly 5 years of using PowerSchool Professional Learning, we upgraded to a newer interface at the end of September. So I have been fielding a lot of calls and emails with a little bit of confusion on some things. And so I kind of want to clarify that with you this morning and let you know some things. So basically, when they upgraded the new interface, it's not an entirely new interface. It does look very similar to the old one, but they basically split all administrative rights into 2 different menus. You used to go to administration to do everything if you were an administrator in your district. Now they have taken all of the course management tools and moved them into a new menu called the Professional Learning menu. So many people have been calling me and saying, I don't have administrative rights anymore because they're going to the administration menu and looking for them, and they're now found under the Professional Learning menu. So, so I'm going to talk about that over the next few slides here. So essentially, now this one I'll just mention, just as with before, you're going to go to the transcript menu to find your transcript, and you'll want to let your teachers know that that's where they're going to go. It does look a little different now. It does, and unfortunately my screenshot doesn't show this, but just under where that says completion date, it shows the total number of hours, PLUs, APLDS clock hours that you've accumulated, if those apply to you, at the top. And then of course it lists everything on your transcript. You can filter it. So for example, and I'll mention this again toward the end, if you are a currently practicing principal or AP, you can look to see how many APLDS hours you have by filtering for that. You'll notice their credit area. You can click that drop down and choose which credit type you want to filter for, and just let the transcript show just those items on your transcript. You can then print your transcript, and that can be your documentation for that. So if we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So on the, this is just referring to what I was mentioning there. You can go to alabamaprincipals.org, and Dr. Shepard-Jones has provided an excellent video there that will walk you through that particular process. But also you'll find on that site a list of all of the courses that are available that you can register for to get professional learning credit in APLDS clock hours. So you'll want to be aware of that and make sure your principals and APs are aware of that as well. Is that the last slide we have for mine? I think, Dr. Shields, there were a few more in there that apparently have disappeared.
There are a few. I'll just go back and I'm just gonna look away. I just want to make sure, since we have you here, there are a few things that we left hidden, but since you were here to provide, a little bit more explicit,
sure.
I'm just going to go through some of those hidden slides and see if there's anything you need to share with the group.
Well, just this one is an important one, I think, only in that this is something that's been available since we started PowerSchool Professional Learning over 5.5 years ago now. There is an app connected with the program, but I do want to make you aware that that is not a general use app. So for example, your teachers can't download that app and then register for courses and check their transcript. This app is strictly used for people to check into a training. Now that will not register them for it. Essentially, they would need to register ahead of time, or you would need to place them on the roster. But then when they walk into the training, if they download the app to their phone, they can scan a QR code you can print out for them. It will mark their attendance so that after the training is over, then you can easily go into the roster and award credit based on their attendance. So it's kind of a nice way to have your participants just basically check themselves into a training, and that way you can sort of handle the sign in electronically. That would require that you have all of your teachers download this app and install it. And when they install it, it's going to ask for a district code, and just be aware that that district code is the same for everybody in the program. It's listed right there under the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. It's that DH5MQR. So that is the code they'll need in order to install the app. If you want more information, or you're trying to, deal with that, you can contact me. And on this slide, it gives my contact information. Now, we'll very quickly mention what I mentioned before. They moved the administrative rights between the administration menu and the new professional learning menu. So if you are someone who is going to be dealing with accounts, that's still under the administration menu, and that hasn't changed. Now, there are 3 roles: state administrator, district administrator, and site administrator, and these just give different levels of access to accounts. If you're not certain, but you think you should have more, then there will be a primary contact in your district that deals with PowerSchool Professional Learning, and they're usually the person that I interact with. But you can call me or email me, and we can work through that if you feel like you've lost some rights in the program that you previously had and should still have. Course management, as I said, got moved under the professional learning menu, and depending on what your role is in your district, you'll have different levels of access to that. You'll notice down that screenshot on the left side, there are buttons, and which buttons you have access to are depending on whether you're a basic user, a course requester, a final approver, or an office administrator. Now, those roles were still there previous to the upgrade to the new interface. And if you had those roles before, you still have them, but they may have changed slightly. And I can't really tell you for all districts how that works, because each district implements this a little differently. But if you feel like things are not going the way they should, contact me, and we can take a look at who has what roles in your district, and we can make sure that everybody has the correct roles they need in order to create and manage courses. And then finally, I wanted to mention, because this is new, ad hoc reporting is a way that you can go in to get data out of PowerSchool Professional Learning. And pretty much any data that is in there can be extracted through an ad hoc report. Previously, only office administrators could access those reports under the administration menu. Now, anyone in your district who is a course requester, a final approver, or an office administrator can access those ad hoc reports, and there is a button under the professional learning menu to access ad hoc reports. I will tell you that it can be a little daunting if you get into that and want to extract information. I'll be happy to, if you want to contact me, walk you through it over the phone. It does require a bit of trial and error, because you have access pretty much to every field that's in the program. So the complication is trying to figure out exactly which fields to include to get the data that you're looking for. So I have been fielding some of those calls. Some districts have wanted to know, for example, how much professional development they've offered during a particular time period. And you can produce that report through ad hoc reporting. So that's something you may want to explore. And as I said, if you'd like some more specific instruction on that, just feel free to contact me. And as I said, my contact information is on that previous slide. And I think that is it, Dr. Shields.
All right, thanks so much, Rhett. And I hope you're seeing the chat. Yes, Rhett was my go-to before I came to the State Department. He is my go-to while I'm at the State Department. So we all thank you, Rhett, for being having such a servant's heart for this work. All right, with that, I think I'm going to pass it to Mickey at the ALSDE. Hey there, all yours.
This is Mickey Crenshaw with Career and Technical Education. I'm just going to bring a couple of things out as they pertain to career tech. First of all, the career readiness indicators are proof that our students are ready for employment. They are provided by a third party and they are approved by industry. Key to earning a CRI is preparing the students. to take the test to make sure that they meet those workforce standards. They are available to any student that has been declared in the CTE program. Now, down to the nitty-gritty. The guidelines and the procedures for CRR testing is provided by the third-party vendor. The State Department does not govern any of that. However, it is mandatory that those who are testing for CRI adhere to the guidelines provided. It is up to the LEA, anyone involved in testing, to make sure that they are practicing professional ethics as it pertains to testing. We've gotten various phone calls about some situations, and I know no one on this Zoom wants to be involved in that. So make sure, I'm sure all of you know it's your ethical obligation to test and not participate in anything that appears to be cheating. And with that, I'm going to change gears. I think we need to go the other way, Melissa. Program guides. Program guides are being updated. I think Laura Bailey has finished all those updates. I provided the information there for you as they pertain to program guides. They've all been posted. That we were making a few tweaks a couple of weeks ago. I think we're finished with that. So you can find that on the link provided on this slide. Now, I want to talk about an initiative that we're very excited about in Career Tech, because it is the cornerstone of what we do in Career Tech. It engages students in learning, and it bridges the gap between industry and education. So with that, I'll play the video so you can have a visual. If you're interested in the Be Pro, Be Proud trailer coming to your district, I provided a slide with a QR code where you can sign. Art D is the contact for that.
Mickey, we do have a question. When will the program guides for 25-26 school year be available? I believe the previous slide, let me go back a little bit, said be posted
January this year. This month, most of them have been updated. I know that IT had some changes that they were making, but most of them should be updated and posted on the website. If you have questions about those, Laura Bailey is the contact.
Thank you.
Sharon.
I don't know about you, but I want one of those trucks. Like that is so awesome. I saw that I have a question in the chat already. So I thought I'd go ahead and answer that. They were asking about the early childhood letters course being a part of the Principal Act credit. Right now, we don't have that as part of our Principal Act credit. The professional learning that we have honored for that are our 2-year courses, but you can still get a PLU for that. So keep that in mind as we are moving through. We are considering that for the future, though. So don't completely count it out. Remember that there is a QR code right there at the bottom. So if you have questions, feel free to scan that and you can ask us any questions there. And then we can make sure we get you additional answers. And that's on each section slide. I want to start with John Maxwell. John Maxwell talks about the power of 5. And if you don't hear anything else I say today, I want you to hear this. John Maxwell says, if we know what we want to accomplish, if we have the right tool, if we take action, stay focused, and are continually consistent, we will be successful. And he says in his daily choice, that's a fact. It's not just theory. It's not a hope. It is a fact that the power of 5 will bring you success. And I think about the Literacy Act when I think about the power of 5. Our goal is grade level reading for students by the time they finish 3rd grade. The tools are high quality professional learning, the high quality instructional materials, and coaching. We take action by implementing these steps. We stay focused on what the goal is, and we stay consistent. And if we don't do those things, if we don't keep our focus and stay consistent, we are risking of not accomplishing our goal. If we start looking at other trees, he uses a tree analogy and chopping down a tree. If you go out there and you take your axe and you chop 5 chops every day, and you stay focused on that tree, eventually what's going to happen? That tree is going to fall down. But if you get distracted by other things that need to be fixed in your yard or other trees that need to be cut down, then you're at risk of that tree that you put as your goal of staying there and not falling down like was your original goal. And we have heard of various schools and districts that have wanted to push their coaching outside of the K-3 in which they've been allocated. And the law states that these coaches are to be for our K-3 students. We hear your cry. You're saying, I got 4th and 5th grade kids who still need support. And we are hearing your cry on that. And Dr. Mackey is asking for additional funds. But we're at risk of losing the funds we have if we lose focus of what our goal is. So make sure you stay the course with focusing on the K-3 literacy with the great coaching we have going on. We know we had great results last year. We don't want to completely change things. We want to tweak to be better tomorrow than we are today and keep that focused. So as a reminder, coaching is for our K-3 students as it pertains to the Literacy Act. And we do anticipate additional funding in the future to help you with your 4th and 5th, but we don't want to lose ground, and we don't want to lose our funding because we tried to do too many things with the funds that were allowed. Alabama is a cautionary tale. Back in the middle of the days of Alabama Reading Initiative, we had the greatest gains that NAEP had ever seen. We increased 8 percentage points. The nation had never seen a state gain that many and still hasn't. We are record setters. And then the next year we hit the national, or the next time it was implemented, we hit the national average. But then after that, we changed our focus. We lost course. We changed where our funding went. And guess what happened to our data? Our data went down. So we can't risk that happening to us again. Stay the course. Keep moving along. Remember the power of 5. Struggling readers beyond grade 3. So this is information that has been released previously. I shared it with you at the previous CNI. Want to make sure you're aware that based on the webpage we have this information there for you, accessible at all times. All of our struggling reader information is right there on that page. There's a page dedicated to struggling readers beyond grade 3. So we're not going to lose our focus. We're going to set this apart as separate. Remember that there were $5 million that were allocated for struggling readers beyond grade 3. We gave you additional funds for assessment. Certain schools and districts are receiving funds for intervention summer reading program based on your based on the data that was pulled. And then we also have the professional learning opportunities. We do not have much more time with the NIHOuse structured literacy modules. So if your school is not engaged in that, I've heard of districts who are pulling together their educators, and they're going to do the modules one at a time. Hey, we're all going to do the EL module together, and then we're going to come back together. We're going to discuss it. We're going to digest it. We're going to practice the different items. Hey, we're going to go do the handwriting module, and then they come back together. So consider this for your educators that are above grade 3. Unified Insights. So y'all did a great job of really bearing down and getting us started with the Unified Insights. And so hopefully from this point forward, you're going to feel the ease of what Unified Insights can do for you. As a reminder, student reading improvement plans should be entered for all students kindergarten through 5th grade per the law who have a consistent deficiency as outlined in the Alabama Literacy Act. We also have plans for portfolios for all 3rd graders that should be entered in an ongoing process. In the intervention tab, all of your kindergarten through 5th grade students with a student reading improvement plan should have monitoring of their intervention program. So if they are Inspire, which about 75% of our districts are using Spire, if they are Inspire, you're going through those regular checks, you're entering the information on those regular checks, you're marking that attendance and are they active and moving along, and it's to be done in that ongoing practice. It's not to be something that you have to clean up at the very end. So make sure that your teachers are utilizing that. And then with the Literacy Act page, you have your cursive writing proficiency for all 3rd graders. If you've already evaluated your 3rd graders, this information could be entered for them right now. And then also, if you have students who are not successful with the intervention program that you're implemented, not students with an SRIP, but the ones who are not successful with the intervention program. And if they need additional screening, or you may have had a parent who said, I want my child screened for the characteristics of dyslexia, or maybe a teacher feels that way, then information on the Literacy Act page should be filled in for them with the characteristics of dyslexia. This is outlined in the Dyslexia Resource Guide to help you decide what screening should take place. Again, all of that information is on the webpage. We want to make sure that we do not neglect our students who are English learners or special ed. They're still a part of the whole. They still receive the student reading improvement plans. They still receive the portfolio evidence. And one of the things we saw last year is schools who implemented that portfolio really, really well. We saw a lot of success with their students on the ACAP test. Not just on the portfolio to be able to be used, but because they were making sure their students had mastered those skills, they were seeing success. So don't neglect those students just because they have a plan and maybe a possibility for a good cause exemption. As a reminder, the ACAP cut scores were increased by your State Board of Education a couple months ago. And so those are your cut scores, 444 for 3rd grade. And then they did change the cut score for 2nd grade as well, which is that 463 for this spring. It'll be the same next year, and then we'll see that cut score increase for the spring of 2027. The reason the second grade cut score was made is so that you can see which students need that portfolio. There's that correlation between third grade and second grade, so you know which students are more at risk and can give them that extra attention. So just wanted you to be able to see that, give you that friendly reminder. You can also see from the state perspective, those percentages. So you can see kind of if that was the cut score last year in 2024, what percentage of our students would have made that cut? So I think that's important information for you to see. And then finally, Science of Reading Spotlight Schools. These are in action. I've heard great things from the one that has already taken place. Encourage you to participate on this. Remember that this is a team situation. This was something that was one of our districts cried out and said, this is what we really want. We want an opportunity to be able to pull principal and local reading specialists so that they can have some professional development together. So we decided this was going to be a team approach for our Science of Reading Spotlight Schools. We pulled those team leaders, those literacy team leaders together to be able to look at the Spotlight School, see how does this pertain? What do we have going on in our own schools? How are we going to make those adjustments in our school for the future? What can we gain from this? So I encourage you to look at the opportunities that are there for you. This is also on our webpage. All the information that I've shared with you, accessible on the webpage. I'm really excited that we have been granted this opportunity to be able to provide a Google site so that when you have a question, if you go straight to that webpage, I think you might be able to answer a lot of the questions or give you some resources that are going to help support you. Thank you, and I appreciate all the hard work you're doing. Feel free to reach out to us and the regional staff if there's anything we can do.
Bonnie, we do have a couple questions, and I'm pulling up your website so they can see it. So I'm going to, since I didn't do that at the beginning, so this is just the landing page for OSL. And we also, because we work so closely, of course, with Dr. Anderson's group, with the work she's doing with the Alabama Numeracy Act, of course, with Stacy. So we included links to things that certainly connect with our office. But I'll just go quickly, Ms. Short, to the amazing Alabama Reading Initiative. I know in the past, Bonnie has had this like one pager with just lots of great links, and now we're able to put videos and embedded links and PDFs and all those sorts of things. So as I am doing the Vanna White of your website, I'm going to ask you a couple questions if that's okay, Bonnie.
Absolutely.
And I did have someone ask, can I show the cut scores again? So I will, and also make sure, Katrina, if you would, to make sure we put the link to these slides so that they can have them as well.
Vanna, can I get you to go to the COGS for student success up in the top?
I would be glad to.
And then you're going to drop down to assessment.
Okay.
And then as you scroll, you're going to be able to see that you've got videos on your early screeners and on ACAP. You've got your ACAP information, various resources on ACAP. Right there are your cut scores, right there on the website.
Lovely.
Then I see Pamela Franklin has a question about the grants for those select superintendents that requested. We have submitted that to go through leadership for approval, the memorandum that has to be sent out for that. So we're anticipating that you're going to receive notification very soon, Pamela Franklin.
I'm going to put the link to just the direct link in the chat. And okay, so Rhonda, I think I got you covered. Thank you, Bonnie. Keep those questions coming. Oh, you're still up.
Oh, thank you. I forgot all about it. I'm Department of Early Childhood Education today too. There's been a great collaboration between us and the Department of Early Childhood Education. And a lot of this stemmed from the Literacy Act starting and schools that were implementing the P3 initiative. Just mark in the chat if you're a part of the P3 initiative. Will you just state your district if you're a part of the P3 initiative? And we can head on to the next slide, Melissa. Thank you. One of the things that we have been doing is looking to see how can we make sure that what we are doing is supportive of the P3 initiative directives, as well as not compromising the Literacy Act. And so sometimes when we would have schools that were having kind of this dissonance that was happening together, that's where those great conversations have happened with us in the Department of Early Childhood Education to be able to say, okay, developmentally appropriate, what does that mean? What does that look like? Because the Literacy Act was also developed under the developmentally appropriate practices mantra. So really getting down to the nitty gritty, we came up with a definition in November at the P3 National Conference for Alabama. Now, this is in draft, but this is kind of where we are right now. P3 is an early learning continuum, meeting needs of the child and their families where learning is challenged, achievable based on the children's interest, state expectations, and data-driven needs. Anybody have any dissonance with that? I would think we would feel good about that right now. And then the environment fosters child-driven multi-sensory learning opportunities. What do you think of when you think of that multi-sensory? It really fits really well in all realms. And I think about the conversation that OMI and AMSTI has been talking about with multimodal, which really is the same thing. Those learning opportunities while paying honor to the individuality that each student brings to the classroom. Unified Insights is paying honor to the individuality that each student brings to the classroom. Every child is healthy, safe, engaged, supportive, and challenged. So this is kind of our starting place. As you're having that dissonance, I think you can always look at that definition, come together, look at those different pieces. We're going to continue to work together with P3, Amy Brooks from Department of Early Childhood Education has been a key partner of mine and the Alabama Reading Initiative in working towards support. She is the one we worked with the Alabama ELI to help change what AlaKids looked like for you. And we have also been working on first grade readiness assessment with them to be sent to you. We're kind of in the final stages of that, but the goal is not that we are adding to your plate, but that we are trying to make things make more sense to you in the meaning of all the things that you have to do. So stay tuned for first grade readiness assessment, and just know that the Department of Early Childhood Education and the State Department of Education are working collaboratively to try to make sure we're supporting what you have in your pre-K through 12th grade buildings.
Gaston City has the P grant. So we
That
do
is
have
awesome.
a school that is Ford Elementary that has received is a recipient of the grant, and they love it.
And
That's great. And I know that they've just put out for more grants. So I think we'll have more schools that are receiving that. And if you look at the full copy of these slides, you'll see some slides that we hid that list every school that has the P3 grant. And so if that's something you're interested in, you can look into it if you want to reach out to another P3 school so that you can see kind of how they're handling and addressing different things, especially the combination of our laws in alignment with that early childhood philosophy. They might be great people to turn to.
And Bonnie, make sure you check out the chat. We had several that shouted out their programs. Jeff Norris.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. My computer is having a Monday right now, so I hope you can hear me and see me okay. I'm really excited to be with you and excited that extended learning continues to have a spot at the table. we are working on getting on the education directory. So we have a contact for every district. So I always like to use this opportunity until we actually can get a newsletter out to every district to kind of spotlight some of the updates and things that we've been doing this past fall. So you know that we've been hard at work. A couple of the big highlights. Number one, we worked with ARI to allocate funds for summer reading camps before and after school tutoring. That memo came out last fall. If you have not received that funding, the first installment was sent out this month, or should be sent out by the end of this week, I've been told. You'll get half of it this month, and then you'll get another half of it later this spring. There is a link at the bottom of that memo for you to complete a budget form. It is just a draft of a budget. In all honesty, most LEAs are using most of their funding for personnel, and that's okay. There are, I believe, 5 different categories of items that you can use the funding for. So as long as you stay within those 5, you can actually shift it around a little bit depending on your other funding sources. But we'd really appreciate you completing that budget form as soon as possible. It also gives me a contact so that we can reach out with any questions that we have. Having said that, I will say, don't if you've looked at that amount already, it is not fully funding summer reading camps. That funding is based on deficiency numbers on your students K-3 based on their assessments, their early years assessments, and so you actually need to supplement that with other funding sources, and we'll talk some more about that on another slide. The other piece of funding that we have, the other piece of funding that we've also sent out were our Alabama Summer and After School Grant. This is a line item from the legislature. It's about $2.5 million. We're really excited to have oversight of this particular program. 40% of those funds go to non-LEAs. So we this year had so many community agencies who are working and partnering with our districts apply for that funding. We had over 200 applications, I believe, for this particular grant, and we were able to award 50 this year. Really excited that they spanned K-12. And there were all kinds of different things happening in summer and after school programming. So really excited to highlight some of those throughout the year, starting soon. One of the other initiatives we've really been focused on is this idea of extending beyond just the mandates. And so we know a large part of summer learning and programming is for our reading camps and our math camps based on ALA and ANA, but we really have been targeting this idea of the middle grades and what summer learning and extended learning itself could look like for our secondary grade levels. And so we have formed several different task forces and committees and joined them. We culminated that with a guidance for summer learning document, which I'll talk a little about on another slide. And we have jumped on the Google site bandwagon as well. It is a work in progress. So we'll continue adding things to that Google site. But if you wanted to go ahead and bookmark that site as well for all things extended learning, I would appreciate it. And then most recently, we are ready to send out a memo with OMI for the summer math camp funding. Next year, our goal will be able to send all of those amounts out at the same time, but we know that you're starting conversations, hopefully right now, if you haven't already started those conversations with your LEA-based team for summer learning. So just know that the rest of the funding that will come for summer math camps will be coming out in a memorandum to your superintendents, I believe, this month. And Karen Anderson can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I think it's being routed internally right now. So that funding should be coming out really soon. All right, next slide. I mentioned this guidance for summer learning document. I believe it is also coming out this month. So after Christmas break, I know some of our memos kind of line up. And so you'll probably receive several of these things in the next week or so. Really excited about this document. We worked with actually 10 different sections of the State Department of Education. It had input from LEAs and lots of different groups. And so in the past, this document has been really invaluable for districts in detailing the mandates and the laws and requirements of summer programming. We actually really wanted to highlight best practices this year and considerations and ideas and just share the wealth of the things that are happening around the state. So in this year's guidance for summer learning, there are QR codes to Google folders full of resources. We're going to continue adding resources to those folders. There's also lots of things for your team to consider. If I was working with it within an LEA, or if you asked me to come alongside you, this is something I would definitely bring to the table because it's a great starting point for your team as you are making decisions for your programming for your students. And there's also this year, really excited to have a 612 section, and it is going to continue to grow as we think through exactly what that could look like for our secondary students. But we're happy that we are including them at the table as well. That memo should come out, like I said, within the next week or two, possibly. If you have any questions about that once you receive it, please let me know. Within that document, there is a section from our federal programs. We've worked closely with federal programs and Dr. Molly Killingsworth and Alicia Alves and Amanda Rylant and their team for a variety of different opportunities. But one of those is just this idea of helping districts blend and braid funds. As I mentioned earlier, we know that that the allocations for summer math camps and summer reading camps will not fully cover all of your expenses. And so what we recommend is this idea of blending and braiding your funds and using multiple sources. There's lots of creativity within this. Those of you who know me know I'm a creative person, and I think you can be the most creative within restrictions sometimes. And so with creativity within the box. And so we know that if you start off with a limited mindset or an amount of money and then work from that, then your programming will not be as effective. Rather, it's better to start off with what does quality programming, what are the needs of our students in our area, start with the best program you could possibly put together, and then work to fund that particular program. And I'm happy to come alongside you and work through that. But this is just kind of a quick overview of what that looks like. Speaking of that, it looks like I love talking about money, but we know that this ESSER cliff that we have all been jumping off of this year really does affect summer and after school programming. And so our federal programs department has worked with the federal government, and in the past we have used 21st century funds for after school programs, including our summer programs. Molly and her team have really been excited about the new competition cohort grant that they're sending out. I think it's called a competition grant. And that I've seen it advertised several different places. If you have not seen that, please email me or reach out to one of the ladies below on this slide and they can send you that information. But there's a cohort 26 that will start. I think that application is out right now. There's an RFA out and you can sign up for that. You can see the funding amounts there. It's a 5-year grant, which is really exciting. It is a federal grant, so I want to let you know ahead of time that there is definitely some documentation involved, but our team has really worked hard to navigate that and streamline it as much as possible, and they're willing to come help you do that. And you can also use this to coincide with your summer reading camps and summer math camps for your K3 and K5 students. Check out that webinar if you need more information. We have a resource called the Destination Summer Learning Guide. This is not through the State Department, it's through the National Summer Learning Association. I've got some examples of that I can send you. It's another planning tool. I just want to make sure you have some of these resources. And so this is one that is based on 4 different areas. It has some self-assessments, planning tools. Again, great resource for your LEAs when you're planning. And then same thing for this slide. These are some great tools you can use. Honestly, the last bullet is really important. We're going to offer lots of spring training this spring, whether it's in person or virtual. Please just reach out to me. I really want to be a thought partner with you. I've worked with several districts already, just to kind of come alongside and see what your needs are and maybe give you a few ideas or things to consider. But if you'll just bookmark that OSL running update site, check in for those dates, and I'll be sure to link the PowerSchool links into that document as well. And then the last thing I can mention, we want to highlight your initiatives. So follow us on Facebook. I will say, I didn't mention this because this had not come out in the slide deck, Dr. Shields, but I just saw a public release, I guess. It wasn't a memo, a immediate release of the summer food service program sponsor sign up. So the from the federal government, what was it? The USDA, Department of Agriculture, just sent out information in a press release. There's a word for me. It's Monday, I'm telling you. Sent out a press release about the summer food service program. And so if you have not seen that, again, please email me and I'll be happy to forward that to you. And if I can get my computer to work out, I will attach that link in the chat so you can sign up. And that would be a really great opportunity that Dr. Mackey and the State Department has also promoting for LEAs to use. I believe that is all
Thanks,
I have.
Jeff.
Yep.
We got a couple quick questions, and you may want to elaborate a little bit more in the chat.
Okay.
One was, will we have a session to review the summer learning document?
Yes. Follow the running update site. So we're picking a date right now. There actually will be one with OMI through their Everyone Counts session. We're going to partner with them on one that won't be completely math specific, but also we'll have several office hours and different things like that throughout the spring.
Yes. Yes, and there should be many opportunities. Jeff has been wonderful about making sure that the entire state is aware that this is a brand new office, that this is a K-12 office, to really consider how we're providing support. So please reach out to us. And we can do it as a group or we can do it individually. The other one is, if there was some guidance about those specific grants, if one grant did not qualify, just to get more information. So if you do have, I got some wonders, reach out to Jeff. Always. Some of these grants are very competitive. And so sometimes that's part of it, but I would always encourage you got a question just to reach out to Jeff directly.
Yeah, same. I
Thanks,
tell
Jeff.
people I have lots of ideas in very small pockets. So I wish I could provide more, and we are going to continue seeking more funding in the future. And so yeah, please reach out anytime. And we also work with all of your regional partners. So we want to come alongside your ARI and OMI partners that you already work with when you're doing your planning. So just pull me in at the seat of the table and I'll be happy to help out.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, AMSTI.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kathy Jones. I wanted to talk with you a few minutes about AMSTI. I know I'm between you and the break, so I'm gonna kind of make it quick. But AMSTI has a brand new elementary math ACAP experience for grades 2 through 5. This is brand new as of January 2025. This involves a teacher and a student experience. The teacher experience must come before the student experience. Once teachers have attended their session, then the session is unlocked for the students. So this is a wonderful opportunity to get your students and your teachers a little bit of information about the ACAP and some familiarity with the actual format, with some of the questions and that type of thing. So please take advantage of this. And if you want to enroll in this opportunity, please contact your local AMSTI director. And if you're not sure who that is, you can put it in the chat and I'll answer you, or you can go to amsti.org and look at the sites and get your contact there. So the next slide. I know it's not October, and I know that Family Engagement Month has passed, but AMSTI resources are available every single month. So please take advantage of the elementary math resources that really focus on early numeracy. And these, if you'll notice on the slide, these are also in Spanish. So there are a lot of things that help teachers, what parents can do at home. So we encourage the use of these resources, as well as the video resources that can be accessed through the links that are in the notes of these slides. So there is more information in the notes of the slides about how these resources can be used. So next slide. Another new professional learning opportunity from AMSTI is for Who's the Middleman. This is using area models in teaching mathematics grades 3 through 8. It is an awesome opportunity. I will say that as a high school math teacher, I use these same area models in algebra to teach factoring and multiplying binomials. So these are models that are not just useful in grades 3 through 8, they're 3 through college level. So please encourage your teachers to reach out to their AMSTI sites and take advantage of this opportunity for this professional learning. So next slide. We also have an AMSTI ACAP science experience. Now this one is middle school, and this is set up in 1-hour sessions to improve achievement on the ACAP. And look at that, 6 teams PD hours in PowerSchool for your science teachers. So this is a wonderful opportunity for teachers to get some much needed teams PD credit while getting some information that will help students do better on the ACAP. So please take advantage of this as well. Next slide. AMSTI also is offering a PLU that is offered statewide, and this and also there is the Principal Leadership Act approved, so a PLDS approved. There are 2 separate opportunities, so be sure that if you want the Principal Act approval that you're registering in the right one. All of this again is at the AMSTI.org, and there is information in the notes under this slide to help you get to the right place to get to your experience. Okay, and finally, AMSTI, we still have the Math Nation grant and the Curio Math grant. Math Nation is asking for additional data from the schools who participated in that experience. We do have to provide data to the researchers because this is grant funded. And so if you have received notification from either Math Nation or from me, please provide the data that is requested. Again, the funding for this experience is tied to us providing the data to the researchers. Curio is a wonderful opportunity. You see the picture there with the headset. I tried it out, and it's a little bit difficult for me at my level, but the teachers are absolutely loving the opportunity to learn about these VR headsets. The professional learning that they're receiving is wonderful. We have an initial evaluation that is giving us pointers for improvement. So please, if you haven't signed up for the pilot, there's information in the notes. Please sign up. Again, we will be asking for some data that goes along with that because the data is tied to the funding. We cannot provide these experiences to you without some external funding. So these are the U.S. Department of Education grants, and we're very proud to have that funding level for Alabama. So, and finally, if you are not following us on social media, please do, because all of the things I just talked to you about are available on social media. We have the Alabama Department of Education AMSTI profile, but we also have regional profiles for all of our regional AMSTI sites. And there is so much information out there to help you and your teachers that it's pushed out almost daily out through all of those platforms. So please join us and follow us on social media.
Kathy, we do have a couple questions. I tried to respond to one just based on your notes in the slides, but Marcia Farabee asked, is the elementary math teacher experience in person or virtual? I saw in the notes it's a 90-minute session that can be held virtually or face-to-face. Anything you need to grow on that?
Just reach out to the AMSTI directors at the regions because they know what they are able to provide for their districts in their regions. So we want to minimize travel for you all and also for our AMSTI sites. If it can be done virtually, it probably will be done virtually, but some people prefer face-to-face.
Thank you.
And
And
I
thank you,
see
Carrie.
the-
I saw that one too.
Yeah, I see the note about the robotics grants. We are working to get that information out. The funding will go out a little bit differently than it has in the past, and we're struggling to figure out what the best way to send the funding out, because it's not all going to be available at one time this year. So I really hate that for the districts. So part of it will be available initially and part of it later, and we're just really trying to figure out what the best way what's the best way to handle that.
One more, does AMSTI? Yep.
It is mainly for sixth and eighth grade. 4 through 8 can benefit for that. But it's mainly for grades 6 and 8. I don't think we have the exact experiences for grade 4 yet.
And yeah, keep those questions coming. So y'all been sitting here for a minute, and so we wanted to give you time to just kind of grab a coffee, stretch, take a little comfort break. We'll be manning the chat if you've been holding on to a question. So we will take a 10-minute break and see in just a bit.
And I see that Carrie replied in the chat. I misspoke. The experience is for grade 4 as well. So thank you, Carrie.
hope y'all enjoyed that. That was quite relaxing. And you know, we did this before we knew there was going to be snow. So that just made it extra special. Welcome back. I hope you were able to, we have enjoyed watching Jack State. We can see y'all are having like a whole party over there. And so we enjoyed watching y'all get up and talk to one another. But we're just going to pick up where we left off. And I believe Dr. Garner is going to be sharing with us some office of school improvement updates. Joe, all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. Everyone, I'm Joe Garner, and it's a pleasure to be with you all this morning. I'm going to jump right into my section of slides and want to take an opportunity to commend and thank not only the OSI colleagues, but ALSDE colleagues from across the state and you all at the LEAs for the work you have put into improving opportunities and outcomes for young men and young ladies, because in 2018, there were approximately 55 schools across the state of Alabama identified as CSIR. And when it came time for the identification of CSIR being returning schools, those that failed to show growth or improvement as a CSI school, there were only 4 schools out of those 55 that were identified as CSI returning schools. So well done, great job. But with the yearly identification of TSI and priority schools, I wanted to also commend you all for that. This last identification, fall of 2024, 145 schools were identified as TSI, that is targeted support and improvement, and that's a decrease by 99 schools from the previous year. And based on Alabama's Accountability Act, there were 148 schools identified as priority schools, and that is down by 58 schools from the previous year. So well done. You all are to be commended for the work and efforts that you've put in, again, for providing opportunities and outcomes for young men and young ladies. Also hyperlinked on this page, there is the 2024 list of SI identified schools. Now keep in mind, SI identified schools are those schools identified as CSI, TSI, and ATSI. Priority schools are Alabama's Accountability Act. So if you want to see that complete list, it is hyperlinked on this slide.
Hey, Joe, one other thing, because we do have several that are like, hey, I'm new, be nice to me. And those of us who've been doing this a minute, we get that. We have been there and know this is your community. We're here to support you. But if you have not already, I would click on that list, because if you are new in the role of curriculum, federal programs, school improvement, you would be surprised how many times we go to a school and we say, oh, okay, so we see you're an ATSI school. And they're like, what? So this would be a good opportunity for you to look to see, do you serve any schools that have been identified through ESSA as a priority, as a TSI school or a CSI school or an ATSI school? And of course, Joe's going to share some other things with you, but do not take that for granted, so that you can go ahead and be putting interventions in place. Sorry, Joe, all yours.
No, you're good. You're good, Dr. Shields. Thank you. And Dr. Shields is correct. In some cases across the state, we have schools that are identified, especially as TSI and ATSI, that may not know that they're identified for that subpopulation deficit. If you do need some support in understanding the data and understanding that designation, we're always here to provide that support, and it's a pleasure for us to be able to support you all as you work toward improving those opportunities. This chart on this slide identifies the comprehensive support and improvement schools. I do want to point out that the re-identification for schools, whether it be federal accountability or state accountability, will be the fall of this year. So we will see a new list of CSI schools identified and a new list of ATSI as well as TSI and priority schools this fall. If you have questions about the identification criteria for any of these SI identified identifications or the priority schools, it is in the chart with the identification criteria, the number of years you are identified as that kind of school, and the support that the State Department of Education will provide to you all, as well as the exit criteria for each of those identifications. So when you get a chance, take a look at that chart. Also, for the you're good. For the newly identified TSI schools, the ones that were identified fall of 2024, we have a recorded webinar to help you have a better understanding of your designation and understanding the data behind that designation. Remember, it is based upon subpopulation, and it can be multiple subpopulations when compared to all students, that bottom 5% of CSI schools. So be sure when you get a chance, take a look at that. And also, because re-identification is coming up this fall, we've included some hyperlinks with our differentiated support and accountability guide, as well as ACAP and ACT resources. Because if you're a school without a grade 12, the majority of your report card score will come from academic achievement and academic growth. If you're a school with a grade 12, there are other included indicator areas such as grad rate and college and career readiness that play a huge role in that identification as well. So these items, resources are available for you and are hyperlinked in this slide. And if you need support from OSI in any capacity, I have a team of excellent individuals that have strengths that span across almost any capacity you would need in education. And if you need a support, please don't hesitate to request that support. And I've included the OSI website and the link to follow us on X.
Thanks, Dr. Garner. They are doing some incredible work. And, back to our newbies, that document he just shared, the differentiated support guide. When I was on your side and I had schools that were identified, I remember, I had a couple questions like, how they get on it? What do I have to do to make sure that they can exit this criteria? And so Joe's team did an amazing job to say, if you're an ATSI school, these are the things the school should do. These are the things the district should do. And these are the things that we're going to do. It's not a comprehensive list, but it's like, these are the things to expect. So that might be a good place to start too, if you are newly serving a school that's been identified through ESSA. Thank you. Yes, and they are super active, putting all kinds of fun stuff on social media. Thank you, Krista. And thank you, Joe. And I'm going to stop sharing because we're about to get techie, and I'm going to have to let Queen Bee of Technology take the wheel here. So, Ellen, all yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shields.
So, Ellen, if there's something I can do on my side that you think I'm smart enough to figure out, I certainly will try.
Okay, I think I have the audio working now. Sorry, my computer froze.
That's never happened to any of us. I can't imagine the horror. Apparently, the internet is having some difficulty, I think, with me sharing my screen. So we're gonna see if this continues and if you can hear me, and we can go ahead and get started. I apologize for that. So I'd like to begin with a few slides regarding educational technology. And so as we are beginning, I would like for you to be able to look at some of our wonderful programs in EdTech. These programs, which also include things such as Access Virtual Learning, it includes things such as AETC, Technology in Motion, ALJP, E-Rate, Alex, and so much more. And so as we're getting started, you do have the QR code and the link to our ALSDE-OSL site that will share a lot of our resources to our LEAs and our tech directors specifically. So all of these resources are available on the site, and we also have a digital binder that will be available on the site as well. Now, one of the things that I'm super excited about is the work that we have done with Alex. So the Alabama Learning Exchange has been a great resource for our teachers and administrators across the state. And as you know, we have been in the process of improving the user interface of this website, and we have gone to a brand new URL, the AlabamaLearningExchange.org. And so if you will take just a minute, and we're going to walk through, pending that the technology works, this new site. Now, currently, we are running both the current site as well as our new site. Now, the site that we went to, which is a Drupal site, last year, will be available until January the 31st. After January the 31st, the new site will be the only thing that is available. So we will go ahead and take a look at Alex. So when you go to AlabamaLearningExchange.org, you will notice a brand new homepage and interface. Now, I have to tell you that our team has been working extremely hard to develop this new site, and this is phase one. We did put this out to RFP, and we have a vendor, and this vendor has been working around the clock to migrate all of our data, to be able to have an interface that is searchable and intuitive, and we are super excited to unveil this phase one. So when you come to the site, you will see, as you scroll down, a video. This video is available to walk you through all of the aspects and the new components of the new Alex site. It's about 5 or 6 minutes and is available, and I would encourage you to have your teachers review this. Also, you will notice that there is a feedback form that is available, and we really do ask that you provide us with feedback about the things that you like and the things that you see. In order to access the new site, you do not need a username or password at this time. You're going to simply click the Let's Get Started. So once you click Let's Get Started, it opens up to our new Alex site, and you will see 3 tabs at the top. The first one is the course content collections, and this is the landing page. You can search by grade level, by subject, by course titles, or by content. And so let's just say if you look at the tiles and you are an English teacher,
then you can simply click on the English tile and you can choose elementary, middle, or high school. And then you can click one of the grade levels that is specific to your content area. Also, what you may notice and what teachers may know is that maybe there is a lesson that they've used previously from Alex. And that lesson, they don't remember exactly what grade level it was attached to or where it was located, but they do remember that the lesson was about frogs. So you can search by key terms, and in doing so, it will come up with all of the activities, lessons, unit plans, etc., associated with that keyword. You can click the topic and say, oh, yes, this is exactly what I've used in the past. And then it will open that resource in another tab. This links out to a third party. For this one, it's PBS, but it will provide you with the activities, the overview, the objectives, etc. for this lesson. Now, you may say, okay, that is great. I also had a lesson on mitosis that I would like to find. And so in looking at mitosis, you can see a variety of lessons, activities, resources. And if I click on this one, you will notice that it is housed within our Alex site. So this was an activity that was developed by a curriculum specialist, a teacher, etc. And so you can find the overview, the objectives, instructional strategies, ideas for acceleration and intervention. Now, I told you that this is phase one. This is where we've migrated the data. We've got a new, fresh interface, a way that you can search that is intuitive and easy to access. But phase one is like that little black dress that you wear. It's just a plain black dress, but phase two is going to come in and we're going to add some sparkle. And sparkle is not just an adjective to kind of describe. It's also going to be the way we're going to integrate artificial intelligence into these lessons so that you can take these lessons and make them yours. Teachers could take an Alex lesson plan that you see here. In phase two, add sparkle, which will then allow you to customize what are questions you want to ask for your class. What are some additional assessment activities you would like to include? What are ways that you want to differentiate or personalize the lesson plan for your students based on their needs? And all of this will then come into phase two, into my content collections. Phase two will allow you the opportunity to sign in. You will be able to save resources into your own content collection, and then you'll be able to tweak those resources and personalize them for your students. Also, you have a direct link to Alabama standards and all of the courses of study right here on site. With phase three, you're going to see integration into a resource builder so that it'll be an easy way for teachers around the state to submit lesson plans for review. All lessons in Alex are reviewed by committee before approved for the site. And in addition, we're also looking at ways that we will be able to incorporate things such as proficiency skills, retired item banks, DRC resources, access virtual learning franchise content, videos, all of the things where you go in multiple places to find. You will be able to go to Alex as a one-stop shop in phases 2 and 3 to be able to access all materials. We are super excited. Our team has been working really hard to provide this. And so we want to make sure that it is useful and available to you and that you are able to provide us feedback. So please feel free to enter information on the feedback form on the homepage so that we can gather your feedback and make this the best site possible. Now, in addition to Alex, we are excited to kick off this semester with Access Virtual Learning. And in doing so, we have over 100 courses that are available. We are also able to provide these courses with certified teachers. This can fill in gaps for your schedule, as well as offer opportunities that students would not otherwise have access to, such as electives. We are currently in the process of increasing our CTE offerings and developing courses so that those offerings will also be able to help with option B of the new pathway for diplomas. Looking at the Access franchise content, remember this is available. This is for any teacher in brick and mortar around the state who would like access to standards aligned, high quality curriculum. You will have access to all of the activities, tests, as well as the content itself. Now, Dr. Shields was recently at a superintendent's academy, and they were like, they had never heard of Access franchise. And this is a secret that we don't want to keep. We want you to share this and know that teachers have access to this. We also can provide support in helping teachers utilize these resources. Educational Technology awards the Chiquita Marbury Award every year. And in doing so, we take your recommendations. Nominations are open until April the 11th. And we encourage you to nominate those innovators in who are teachers, central office staff, technology directors, etc. And please go ahead and get those nominations in, and we will recognize them at AETC in June. We are gearing up for GEMS, which is Girls Engaged in Math and Science. Our GEMS Expos will be in 3 locations this year. And the Huntsville location has already filled. We have about over 500 girls who have registered to attend the events. Registration has closed, but we do have a few spots, I believe, in Heflin and Dothan. If you will reach out to our team, they will be happy to give you more information if you have a team interested in participating. Alabama Technology in Motion is your go-to for tech integration and professional learning. Each regional in-service center has an amazing technology integration specialist who will be willing to develop and work alongside you and your schools to develop high-quality professional development opportunities. Currently, we do have an ACLD PLU for artificial intelligence that can be customized for your LEA, along with podcast and EdTech Tuesdays. E-learning is available. There are APLDS e-learning courses that are also available, and this is a great way for teachers and administrators to earn those PD credits. As I mentioned, AETC will be in Mobile this year, June the 16th through the 20th. Registration is open. If you are interested in attending AETC, please go ahead and register. This is also our Alabama PowerSchool conference as well. And so Stacy will provide more information about this, but all things PowerSchool will also be a part of this conference. So we encourage you to consider anyone who may be a new user for PowerSchool, as well as those who need a refresher, to consider registering. The cost for registration until mid-April is $140. Also, hotel rooms go very quickly, so we would encourage you to go ahead and go to the site and make those reservations now. EdTech provides office hours once per month from 1:30 to 2:30 on the first Thursday of each month, and we encourage you and your tech directors to join us for EdTech office hours. Now, our Tech Tools Spotlight is something that Dr. Shields and I have used along with several others, and it's called Notebook LM. Now, one of the things, as just a disclaimer, please know that any tech tool that we spotlight, you need to vet according to your district policy. Please be sure to check with your tech director and your data governance committee for determining if this would be something that would be useful and available for you or your team. Also know that there is no tech tool that we are sharing that we feel is greater than other tech tools. It is just to give you information for you to explore what is available. Dr. Shields, would you like to weigh in before we share the tech tool?
I was just putting in the chat, like, y'all prepare yourself. This is crazy. So yes, this is a really interesting tool, and maybe after that we play it, we can even explain how some are using it to support them. But when we discovered this, we thought of 100 different ways that we could use this, not only for instruction, but for PD, for personal edification. So I'll let Sue Ellen play the clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
All right, let's dive into this this latest stuff from the Alabama State Department of Education.
Yeah.
We've got this big document from their winter 2025 curriculum and instruction meeting.
Yeah. Looks like it's chock full of updates and new initiatives.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
It is always interesting to see what comes out of these meetings.
Right.
Kind of gives us like a snapshot of where education in Alabama is heading.
Yeah, and this one, there's some really encouraging trends, especially when it comes to student achievement.
Absolutely. Like, take the 10th grade PSAT scores, for instance.
Okay.
Those are over 100 points above the national average.
Wow.
Which, isn't just a good number that suggests something's working really well.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what they're doing differently here in Alabama.
Right.
Is it specific programs? Is it teacher training?
Right. What do you think is contributing to a jump like that?
Yeah.
Well, it's likely a combination of factors.
Okay.
The report also highlights growth in AP exam scores, particularly among African American and Hispanic students.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Which seems to point to successful efforts in closing some of those achievement gaps.
Yeah, closing the achievement gap, that's a huge win.
Absolutely.
And you know that those initiatives are working. That must be really encouraging for educators across the state.
It is.
So let's switch gears a bit and talk about curriculum. It looks like there are some big changes coming to social studies and fine arts with new textbook adoptions that are underway.
Textbook selections always sparks debate.
Right.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Because it directly impacts what is being taught in the classrooms.
Exactly.
So it's interesting to see that they've got a committee of 14 educators from various different levels. And they're even offering paid opportunities for more educators to participate.
Oh, that's cool.
Which could be a great opportunity for anyone listening
Yeah.
who might be passionate about shaping curriculum.
Especially in those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this tech tool is an opportunity for you to use Notebook LM, which is a Google tool that allows you to take any document, and from that document, you will be able to create an audio file or a podcast. And what this can do is really provide a way to differentiate information for your students, as well as a way to share information with parents. One of the things that it will do is you will simply add a source. Once you add the source, all I did was drop in the CNI slides from today that you all are viewing. I dropped those slides in, and then it created this podcast. It also will create a study guide, a briefing document, like a one-pager that summarizes everything, and an FAQ document as well. And so you can see easily that one of the ways that I've used this is I have 3 children, and my oldest daughter is actually in a nursing school. And so she takes her nursing PowerPoints, drops them into Notebook LM, and it creates a podcast for when she's traveling an hour or so to school every day to listen to her notes. Then she uses the study guide, which gives her some questions that she can quiz herself on that would then provide to see, did I really understand what they were saying? And so this is a great tool that is available for free at this time to share. And Dr. Shields has used it as well, and so I'm going to let her share as well.
See, Christy's already, so truly, it takes 10 seconds. Like you just upload the file and then you just wait. Now, sometimes it may take a few minutes because there's 200 and something slides. So it may take it 5 or so minutes to generate the podcast. But let's just say we do a really bad job today. You have a podcast to listen to of two people going back and forth through the slides. I saw Dr. Coleman had put something in the chat, and he had shared how, I think it was your son, Dr. Coleman, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would love that, that like, someone could put a resume, like upload your resume and listen to these two people, like, you know what? Karen, she's really strong in leadership, but I didn't hear anything about how she, puts grants together or her soft skills. It actually starts kind of taking your resume apart. And so, you're able to go to your interview with this really conversational approach to your resume and fill in whatever gaps. If you're like me, who I'm on the road all the time, and I'm sent really heavy documents, and I'm like, okay, when I get to my hotel or when I get there, now all I do is I can put it into this document, into this this notebook, listen to it. Now it is AI, and so Sue Ellen's going to say this, I know again, but even when we listened to this 30-minute, which I was a little like, how did they go through our 200 slides in 30 minutes? It was impressive. There were things like, like they said AMSTI really weird. They said it's ATM instead of ATM. So there are some liberties that they're going to take because we didn't tweak it. So just know that when you listen to it. But overall, it was just really, really interesting to think how we could use this in an instructional setting.
And one of the things that I loved is at the very end, the podcast itself actually talks about how our OSL team collaborates and communicates and works to support teaching and learning across the state. And one of the things that I told Dr. Shields when we were going through it is that with absolutely no tweaking, it was simply, here are the slides, create this. There was no 80-20 human in the loop kind of tweaking going on. It did not know how to say a lot of our acronyms or abbreviations, but it totally got the heart of the work that we're trying to share with you guys. And so I thought that was really interesting with this AI tool. So hopefully you can find ways to benefit your students as well as the work that you're doing in every day in your schools and districts. And as always, if we can help you in ed tech, we are here to serve you. And please reach out to us with any questions that you may have.
So we do have some questions about the podcast, and it really is an AI tool, and you have it create a podcast. The way Sue Ellen and I have used it is really with, here it is, and let's see what you come up with. Breaking it down into a study guide and individual points, creating a PowerPoint. I did that the other day. It's crazy. But lots of opportunities. Is one of those things that's kind of what I call plug and play. Like it really doesn't require a lot of training. You just go to the website, throw a link in there. I think it has to be a PDF. Or at least from my experience, I've not tried it with another source, and see what happens. So something for you to play with. Thank you, Sue Ellen. She always comes up with the greatest stuff. Okay, I'm going to go back and share my screen because I think we have Dr. Anderson up next on the deck. So let me share my screen.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you so much. OMI is in the house. So while I'm just going to talk a little bit as you're pulling up the slides.
Okay.
Thank you so much to everybody from OMI who is on the line. I see, goodness, nearly 20 individuals representing OMI from across the state. Thank y'all so much for being here, and thank you for keeping me straight moving forward. I do have a few slides for everyone. There are several hidden slides. As Dr. Shields mentioned, we had so much to share. So this is one of a few slides that we share across the state regarding what an effective Tier 1 mathematics block looks like. And in the very center, you see mathematical discourse. We should see students, really, this is K-12, and I forgot my disclaimer that I've been doing in the in-person sessions. All of you secondary people, don't tune out when you hear my voice. I need y'all to stay with me. There's some great stuff here for you. All righty, back on track. Regardless of the content, really, students should be talking to each other. They should be listening to others. They should be critiquing others' conversations, and there should be discourse in the classroom. So that is the center of an effective Tier 1 math block, is students being able to have conversations, and also teacher-student discourse, and there should also definitely be opportunities for students to reflect. And another area I wanted to highlight is our evidence-based practices. There are 4 that we are lifting up right now. Nothing new: assessment and feedback, mathematical language, multimodal instruction, which you see is lifted up here in terms of using those manipulatives, modeling, symbolic models, again, student discourse, and systematic instruction. Those links will take you to one-pagers for every single one of those evidence-based practices. So again, whether you're elementary or secondary, these are just great resources for your use. Please know that the recommended interventions by the Elementary Mathematics Task Force are they have very specific interventions loaded in Unified Insights. And this is just a reminder to you that that information is loaded. Look out for pending another memo with additions from the Elementary Math Task Force. And as updates are needed, we will be sure to place those into Unified Insights as well. This is a time when you're looking at your middle of the year data to make those instructional decisions. You already know who should be attending summer school, because those are the students that are in need of support right now from your middle of the year data. So be sure to go ahead and start communicating with your parents, because with our summer programming, thanks to Jeff Norris for everything he's doing to amplify our summer and before and after school learning. Our summer learning programs, we are competing with Grandma's House, we're competing with Disney, we're competing with the couch. So it's important that our summer school programs are engaging. The Office of Mathematics Improvement has created curricula. If you click on that link, it'll take you to our Padlet, where you will see Fun Zone and Math is an Art information there available for your use in terms of curriculum. And be sure that the teachers who are providing instruction are those individuals that really are making sure that students' data moves. It's not just the student, it's not just the teachers that are teaching summer school to get their Christmas money. It's not just the teachers that are teaching that really might just want to, because they've been teaching in the past, or they're just going to keep teaching. Be sure that you are truly, truly selective. It should be almost like a draft pick. Who's going to teach summer school this year? Teach your rock star teachers should be those teachers teaching summer school. Just an update on the mathematics coach, the building-based math coach rollout. The Numeracy Act states that every single school that has grades K through 5 shall be allocated a math coach. It's going to look different because our school configurations look different. So for example, you do have some schools that are maybe grades 4 through 8 or 5 through 8. They may not get a coach for that individual building because there are only a handful of teachers. So the school that partners with that individual school will receive the math coach and the funding for that math coach, but that individual will support its partner school that has grades 4 through 8 or 5 through 8. So these are our approximate numbers at this point. The impact of coaching on teaching and learning. Research supports that BBMC, that's a building-based math coach, that they should spend at a minimum of 60% of their time in coaching cycles. One of the slides that's hidden, you'll see a bar graph that shows the percentage of time that is actually spent by our current coaches across the state. And they're in 3 separate categories. There's our emerging coaches that are brand new, just really learning their standards, just really learning the coaching moves. There are those developing coaches that are a little bit more proficient, and there are those accomplishing coaches that have all, to my understanding, been in place really prior to the Numeracy Act. And we're looking for their time spent in a coaching cycle to, at the very least, be 60%. And there's lots of research that attest to this. And when you look at the slide deck, you can find the specific references in the notes. What does 60% look like? You can see an example there. If you look at a typical day for a school day, it's 420 minutes, and you subtract off some time for a variety of activities, there's 300 minutes available daily for coaching cycles. And 60% of that 300 is 180 minutes, or really 3 hours that should be spent in coaching cycles. And you see an example of how that can be achieved in the chart that's displayed. So again, referring back to the slide with the bar graph, you'll see that our coaches really are not meeting that 60% of time spent. So, and to full disclosure, our brand new coaches, or those that are emerging, are really expected to spend more time coaching out of a cycle instead of a full coaching cycle. But to ensure that we get the maximum impact from mathematics coaches, closed coaching cycles must meet or exceed 720 minutes. Just as a quick example, I know many of you may have great New Year's resolutions for getting in shape, and maybe you're going to join a gym. You will not get those washboard abs that you want for the summer unless you actually spend some time in the gym. So that 720 minutes is necessary. Thanks, Dr. Shields. We can move on to this slide. Perfect. I'm expecting to see as many people as possible on this afternoon for our Counting on You session. This session is focusing on a mathematical mindset and application. We have got some fun activities planned. We're looking forward to seeing you all there. And follow us on social media as well, on X, on Facebook, and we do have a YouTube channel. And when you're doing those great things in your classrooms and you're posting on social media, be sure to tag us with these taglines. Thanks to those who have dropped in the summer school curriculum and the handouts in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. All right, up next, I think I see Tara. I do, Tara Jackson with special education.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Hello, my name is Tara Jackson, and I'm one of the few members of the instructional support team in special education services. I have a short yet sweet list of awesome resources for you to take back to your LEA and share with the people that use it. My theme for today is all, the word ALL, all. Okay. My first slide, we see the SES section has created special education specific courses to meet the credit requirements for the Principals Act. Currently, there are 3 courses listed, and they began on January 16th, but don't worry because they're asynchronous. Principals and assistant principals can earn 20 credit hours for each PLU. Now, you can use this link or the QR code to access those courses available to all principals and assistants. There's my word, all. Next slide. Assistive Technology Lending Library. This is a partnership of SES and Alabama Department of Rehabilitative Services. If you have identified a student with complex needs and determined that there is a need for assistive technology, this library is here for you to borrow equipment on a short-term basis. Now, this gives you the opportunity to try the equipment before you purchase it. And if anyone has purchased any of this equipment in the past, you know that it could be quite expensive. This is available to all students receiving special education services. All students receiving special education services. Next slide. Okay, so we have some new federal guidelines here on behavior. FBA guidelines. The Office of Special Education Rehabilitative Services and the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education jointly offered guidance for all students. While functional behavior assessments, or FBAs, have traditionally been used to support students with disabilities who receive services through an individualized education program, or IEP, use of FBAs has evolved, and they are now widely seen as helpful to students with or without disabilities. FBAs can and should be used as a strategy to support any student whose behavior interferes with learning. Any and all students whose behavior interferes with learning, okay? Okay, I'll take a quote from this guidance. By using FBAs, educators can gain a better understanding of students' needs by identifying factors that contribute to the behavior's occurrence. More specifically, data gathered through an FBA allows educators to develop positive and proactive behavior intervention plans, or IEPs, that use a function-based approach to teaching and learning to create more inclusive developmental and educational experiences without having to resort to the removal from the classroom. And that should be your goal, to keep the student in the classroom so that it can actually receive an education. Next slide. SES Shorts. SES Shorts are a series of 1-hour virtual sessions on a variety of topics held throughout the year. Now, if you see our calendar linked here for upcoming sessions, registration information, and to access recordings. Check back periodically for additions and information on how to request adding a topic of interest. Say, for instance, you look on there and you don't see what you're interested in, but you have your LEA has a certain interest. There's information there to help you to request that topic. Also there on the same slide, also there is high-level practice trainings are also available here. Sorry. HLPs are 22 teacher practices known to improve outcomes for students with disabilities. These practices are a playbook of an effective educator and also beneficial to all general education teachers serving students with a disability. So that means all teachers. IEP, there's an IEP series coming up in February. There's information on that. So please share this information with all teachers. Thank you. Next slide. Special Education Services Resources. This live binder is our one-stop shop for all things special education. Now, we here understand the complexities involved in using Alabama Achieves website. So if we provided you with a link here and a QR code so that you can locate some of our most valuable resources that we have available. Now, before we go into the next slide, I failed to mention the differentiated instructional guide, or as we fondly call it, the dig. We don't have a slide on it, but I feel that you all need to know this information. It replaced the curriculum guide, and it's a tool that helps teachers to identify a student level within a standard and to be able to structure goals and lessons and to see progress. It's a tool for all teachers as well and students. Now, the subjects currently available are English, math needed to be tweaked, and we tweaked it, so it's ready to go. Science is currently on deck, and we have a draft that's ready to be put online for public comment, and social studies will follow. Since we have developed, we have got our social studies course of study approved. So social studies will be coming this summer. I can't even talk anymore. But social studies will be coming up, and I'm going to reach out to people to recruit anyone that you feel that is an expert in the area of social studies. That will probably become available in the summertime for us to get together and work on developing the dig for social studies. So I will be recruiting people for that. And that's it. Special education services, all students, all teachers.
Okay, Tara, I think we're a little disappointed you did not do the round of applause that you did in the, you couldn't figure out how to do it virtually.
I was going to do something, but I didn't. Yeah. So there is benefits of coming to see us live. First of all, I don't fumble as much as I do on the screen, because I'm looking at the screen and don't see people. I need to see people. But yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't give you that. But hopefully next time. So next time we have a live audience, I'll be able to do something similar.
You're always a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Stacy, I saw people started joining, so apparently people got their buddies. Like Stacy's about to come on, so we had a bunch of folks just join. So I'm passing it to you.
All right. Good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. Couple of updates. It's kind of mid-year. Let's go to that first slide, Dr. Shields. In the middle of the year, we know that there's a lot of transition that takes place in the districts, and we've seen quite a bit this year. So I just wanted to throw this back up here to remind people who have migrated into new positions that we do have the student information system data calendar in place to help us know about timelines of anything from, when to do report cards, what kind of reports to run, but most importantly, when state reporting data due dates start approaching on us and how those are accomplished. We are in that weird transition year where most districts now are actually working in 2 academic years. We are getting ready to shut this school year down. And I know that sounds really weird to be saying that in January, but we are already looking toward May and starting to plan for things in the summer. At the same time, our high schools across the state and some middle schools are already starting to look at scheduling for the upcoming school year. I bet if I were to ask on here how many of y'all have already started your master schedule work set up, maybe using PowerScheduler, I'd get a lot of people responding because that seems to be the theme, because my coaches are out there doing back-to-back presentations for everyone on those scheduling procedures. So make sure that if you weren't aware that the link is here, that you have the data calendar bookmarked somewhere so you can see, what should we be looking for in January? What should we be looking for in February? And so forth. Next slide. Along that same line, just remember that we also have our Alabama PowerSchool Edition Google site that keeps up to date with tutorials, how-to videos, and printable documents on how to do the various parts of PowerSchool. So if you are new coming into a new position, that you need to know, how do I work with attendance? How do I work with storing grades? Things such as that all of these links are right here and available for you. Next slide. Also, with that trend of us having some new people in new positions, I can't stress this enough, and this is going to kind of go back to what Sean was saying earlier. There are weekly updates that I send out to all users in specific education directory groups. It is the weekly ALSDE PowerSchool updates. PowerSchool is a program that is literally so powerful and touches every position in districts. I talked to somebody the other day and I said, do you realize that it really touches everybody except maintenance? Every position in a school district, PowerSchool touches except for maintenance. So there's a wide variety of people who need to know information, and things change on a constant basis, which is what you should expect out of a truly technological student information system. So every Monday we send these updates. I even keep an archive of all the old updates so that you can see upcoming training opportunities, any release notes, like the one that's going to be coming up this Monday is packed with quite a bit of release notes. We've got a big release going into SIS for state compliance. We have a big release going into Unified Insights or Analytics and Insights, correcting some bugs that we've seen in MTSS and student plans, plus some enhancements in there. So please make sure that you have the correct people assigned positions to receive this information. If you go to the next slide, Dr. Shields, these are the actual education directory positions that I email out. I know I've gotten quite a few emails from districts that will say, hey, Stacy, I'm a new counselor for this district. Can you add me to your email list? Unfortunately, we can't manage individual person email lists, but what we can do at the state is we pull all of our communications from the education directory. And so having people listed in those directory positions are key. And I really need your help with this. And I know y'all, there's probably not HR people in these roles, but there is something that's huge. And we kind of ran into this problem over the last couple of weeks when we were trying to get out the information about the data breach that took place. Our only way of pulling communication for anybody to send out anything is through the education directory. That is where you as users tell us at the state how to contact you. What we are seeing is that when people are transferring from one district to another, or even when they are coming from their original onboarding and they have a personal email address in AIM, when they go to do their fingerprints, background check, all that stuff, they're not updating it once they get into the district. And so we're having communication that's going out to personal Yahoo addresses, Hotmail addresses, or addresses that were connected to a previous district that they no longer receive the emails at. I'm going to ask and beg for help in the districts. If you can, the people who are over your onboarding process, when y'all are hiring new people, can you help me help you by making sure that one of the steps they have their new employees do is to log into their AIM accounts and update their email address? Because unfortunately, the individual users in AIM, your individual teachers, your principals, even your superintendents, that had 2 superintendents that had incorrect emails on them that I couldn't get data breach information to that was very important. Make sure that they log into their AIM account, because you as a district can't do it for them. We at the state can't do it for them. So it's super important, back to what Sean was saying, that in order for the right people in these roles to receive the emails, that their addresses have to be correct. I would say whoever's in the district over the education directory, just go to it for your whole district and just scroll down through the list of email addresses and find anybody who doesn't have your domain on there and say, hey, do you really mean for this to be sent to your Yahoo address? Or, hey, you forgot to update it from your old XYZ district email address to this one, and have them go in and do it, just to make sure everybody's receiving the correct communication. From state memos to anything else, that education directory list is crucial for the communication pathways at the state. Next slide. All right, the big thing that I wanted to talk about that I know has garnered a lot of conversation, and this memo was sent out, and I had been on office hours with the districts on Tuesday, January 7th, and had just told them before I hung up with office hours that, hey, I'm going to be working on an email to give you all the information of the FAQs y'all wanted about this. And then literally the world fell apart for me when the data breach was announced, and we went scrambling to try to deal with that, and have been dealing with that for the last 2 weeks. So I wanted to use this to get on here, and I'm going to put it in the upcoming newsletter, what everybody's been asking with these non-public student transfers. So this is straight verbiage, and what was in the memo is straight verbiage from the law that was passed. The spirit of this law is for districts to mark students who have to come from institutions who aren't required to give public school curriculum in there. So they might not be on the same standards. And those are the students you have to mark. So a lot of people, I really think, are overthinking what it means to be a non-public student, because this is really going to boil down to your private school and your homeschool students. Now, the word homeschool is where our biggest angst is, because a parent will come in, and we've seen this a lot with Tim Tebow, and say, hey, my kid was homeschooled and now I want to enroll with you. Well, when you find out that they were homeschooled and you all of a sudden send a records request, and it's to Alabama Virtual K-12, to Renaissance, to some of these that we know are Alabama virtual online schools that are part of public school systems, those kids are not considered homeschooled students. They are public school students. So I want to make sure that we all understand just because a student is at home learning online does not constitute them to be a homeschool student. If that student is transferred to you and they are from one of those online virtual Alabama public schools, they are not to be marked as a non-public student transfer. These are going to be the outside of those. And this shocks a lot of people. There's almost 50 online public schools in the state of Alabama associated with school districts now. So this literally should just be your private schools and those homeschool covers that students are attending. Another big question that I get from districts are, well, what do we do with the students who come from out of country and have never been in a public school before? Well, if they've never been in a public school before, then they were not enrolled in a non-public school that would constitute the checkbox here. So those students are not checked. Now, if they did come from a school out of country and you need help figuring out if that school was public or private, a lot of times just a small Google search will tell you, because everyone who has called me to ask, as soon as we've searched that school online, it states that it's a public school or a private school very heavily. So if you do need assistance with that, we'll be glad to help you. But it's really just marking your private school kids who are coming in and those true homeschool cover students that were somewhere. And we will be getting that whole FAQ out. I did have a question from a couple of districts about Dodge students. My thought is that those are public school students because they do have a public school curriculum by the United States government. But I'm getting confirmation from Legal and Accountability on that. So more to come inside of there.
Hey, Stacy, quick question. I'm guessing I saw it come, but then it left. If a student's from out of state, same protocol. It is just to determine if that school is private or not. That's one question. And the other is there a list of Alabama public virtual homeschools?
So yes, inside of AIM, and it's a public, you can sign into AIM or you can see it from the public facing on Alabama Achieves. There is a link to the registered schools in the state of Alabama. And if you just look at the all version of it and then filter it down to those virtual schools, it will show you all list of those. And I tell people that's really handy to have, not just for this, but also when your kids come in wanting to be Tim Tebow kids and you find out that they're at one of those schools, then they do not qualify for Tim Tebow. And we've seen some dual enrollments across districts that we've had to contact both the districts and AHSAA about because of that, because parents see that as a different definition. Last but not least, our PowerSchool coaches, just remember that we do have 5 now. We have added a second special programs coach, Miss Samantha Russell, who is an amazing addition to the team that's helping Sherry Winningham with all of our special programs trainings. It is that time of year where a lot of people are starting to get ready for scheduling and to get ready for summer and wanting to set up trainings for back to school already. Just know our coaches' calendars fill out really quickly. So if you are planning those, go ahead and click on the link if you know you are wanting to invite them in to do an in-person training with your district for like new teachers or such before their calendars fill up. They're there to help. We've had a slew of webinars this January. We have our February calendar that we are getting finalized this week to send out next week of all the trainings. It's still going to be hot and heavy on scheduling because it's that time of year. Unified Insights, we're still making the push with all the trainings on the student plans and on the interventions because we do not want to lose that momentum that we have gained because y'all are making huge strides with all of that information. And to reiterate a point that Sue Ellen mentioned, AETC this year, we are going to offer that as the Alabama PowerSchool Conference. So we are planning on offering around 80 sessions on everything PowerSchool. So if you know you have new people, new counselors, new administrators, new teachers, new special education teachers or special education coordinators, anybody who touches something hot and heavy with PowerSchool, secretaries, registrars, this $140 conference is a lot cheaper than that $2,200 PowerSchool PSU conference, and you get a lot more sessions to have access to. So I just highly advocate for anyone, send them down to Mobile, get them part of that. We always get rave reviews on the quality and quantity of sessions that myself, all the coaches, and the tech guys on the data side will all be offering.
Stacy, a related question. Will there be a quick guide with this information for all PowerSchool users? I know you've got
Yes.
a ton of stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to backtrack to, you knew this was coming because I think we've been asked this at the other CNI meetings, but this is a question about option B. And the question is, will there be a place in PowerSchool to indicate that students will be choosing option B? Just wondering for accountability, how will we report that? I know
Yes,
you're still
because
working
that
that, but you know, tell them.
Yeah, because there's a two-way thing. A lot of people have emailed and asked, is there going to be a new diploma exit type in there? The answer to that is no, because like Sean said, we only have one diploma option, so it's just a regular high school diploma. However, part of that does say that we have to let them know ahead of time for that ACT reporting. So we are going to put something. Actually, there's a meeting a little bit later on that I'm going to have. Dr. Shields, Sean, myself. I think I have an easy solution to it where there's going to be possibly a code set over inside of that same compliance area where you mark the graduation exit type, because I don't know, I have this feeling this might not be the first time we get some type of alternate pathway to a diploma. So I say we go ahead and set it up to be a code set where we can drop down and choose these. And as any others may be added in the future, we can add and not just be a whole bunch of check boxes that y'all have to check. So we'll kind of work that out, but do expect to see something on there in an upcoming release inside of PowerSchool. And as soon as it hits, y'all know I will let you know and give you guidance on how to do it, you know, singularly by student and in mass, and I'll get you a video and a help guide on it.
Stacey, you're awesome. We can all agree. You are like a superhero. Thank you for everything you do. You're just amazing. I did get a question about the here on this link, and we might need to check it. Some folks are having trouble accessing it. So if we need to update it, we certainly will. Whoever, Tracy, we will work on that. Does Stacy have any videos or information for the poor souls that have to complete the CRDC?
Okay, so yes. In fact, there is an enterprise report that we had. Scott worked with a group of about 13 districts on putting together an enterprise report that would pull this data much easier than the way PowerSchool has it set up, where you have to touch every teacher, every course, every student. That's just really a pain and it doesn't work well. You can always look at AIM and get a lot of the numbers, but I really wanted a report that we could kind of go through and pull. We have one little issue with it with the special ed data, because the SIS does not hold historical SPED data. It just has the status of the kids right now. We have an update that's going out at the end of this month, next week, where we're going to pump that data back into the SIS so we can readjust that. Once that is done, I will be holding a webinar at the beginning of February to show y'all the easiest way to pull CRDC data. And trust me, y'all are going to be very thankful for it. And a lot of other states are eyeing what we're doing. In fact, PowerSchool is eyeing what we're doing because they haven't had good luck in getting their internal CRDC stuff working correctly. So stay tuned for that. I've got help coming.
Oh, Sean put something in the chat for you as well about the new credit tracker report.
Oh, yes. If you have not seen that new report, that is the enterprise report that's called the ALSDE Student Credit Tracker. This is something that the counselors like literally save their soul, because they work so hard going student by student to make sure they have all the right credits, have all the right hours, have all the right requirements. And y'all, we are humans. We are absolutely 100% humans. And everybody, every district in the state of Alabama can say at some point in time, some student got missed somewhere on something because of just tired eyes overlooking transcripts. So if you have not seen the Student Credit Tracker report, I'm going to get a video filmed that we can send out to walk you through how to use that entire thing. But it will literally list all of your kids. And we took all of the requirements for the basic Alabama high school graduation diploma, 24 credits and so forth. And we put, you know, history and science and math and English and health and PE and all those different requirements. And it literally cross-checks that student's historical grades page and the credits and course names that you're using to see have they met the requirements, and are showing if there are any issues or not that you might need to look into. And it gives just very quick button clicks to get down into an overall transcript to look at with those students. We're trying to use the technology to do some of that grunt work for you, and it's paying dividends for those who have found this report and really bought into it. So if your district person has not installed that, please ask them to, and I'll have that video to y'all very soon.
Sean, anything you want to add to that? And where is this located?
Just to encourage each of our curriculum leaders to make sure that report's available to your school folks, and just look forward to that video, and we can certainly talk about it at another one. But we certainly believe it'll make a difference in ensuring our kids are on track to graduate.
I personally loved when they were demoing it, for us to be able to see a student and what is missing, like in one snapshot. Where do I need to plug in? Where do I need to have conversations? So it's incredible. I wish we'd had that a few years ago. Last question, Stacy. I think it was around the STCs, and you may not be able to answer this. This may be for Dr. Jeter. How will STCs be affected by the non-public school coding? Do you have any information on that?
As far as if they need to mark, I would say yes, they need to get that information on there. So if they received one in from a private or homeschool, that they would mark them as well.
Yep. And Robert, they were asking for that virtual school list. So if we have a link, we will be sure to share that. Or is that's housed in?
It's on AIM, but you can also look. Okay. I tell you, if you just Google Alabama Achieves School Calendar, it'll bring up the link that shows all the district dates that y'all have put into your calendars of when you're out of school. And there's another tab that just says schools. And when you hit that, it shows you everything. But I'll get y'all the link of the actual how to get to it in AIM.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. And I don't see any other questions, but I wish you guys could see, during these 3 hours, we are all subtexting. We're like, hey, so-and-so's got to quit. It is this whole big thing. I feel like for you old folks, do you remember Hee Haw? Who remembers Hee Haw?
Oh, yeah.
The little lady that was like, she was like connecting everybody. Yeah, that's what I've been like during these sessions. So thank you, Stacy. If we missed a question, you just keep nudging us until we get it. For accountability, I know Dr. Vandiver had to be in another meeting, so I said I would share some of his slides. Unless someone from his office has popped in, please stop me. We did hide a few slides that were very centric to his work. So if you have, very specific questions, we certainly would want to direct you to his office. But he's going to say the same thing. We have a trend. It is to check your data and to check early. He's just asking everyone, to make sure that you're really looking at your data in a very timely manner, to make sure that your data is error-free and current, because we are human. And so it's so important to have those checks and balances for ourselves and those accountability partner friends who are helping you check that. And then, like I said, there are a number of other slides that I've hidden related to his work. So please make sure if this falls under your umbrella that you review them. And if it falls to someone else that you work with, please share. In terms of educator certification data, lots of information. They sent a number of slides, and some of you may work more directly with this than others. So I just said, you know what, send me what you've got. And if it's helpful to some, then it's worth it. But I would ask that if this does not fall under you, same thing with accountability, if you would share this information with those that do work more closely with certification, we really appreciate it. I had forgotten, because this just went live yesterday, so we have not shared this at any of our CNI meetings, so I added it real quickly during the break. But last night, the new National Board of Scholarship application just opened. It is due March 31st. The application is the same it's always been. This is a link. If you click on the snapshot, it's going to take you to that website. Please share with those teachers who may be interested. We are always looking, well, there's a couple things. So we are always looking to see how we can continue to make this be as meaningful and accessible to you as possible. That's why we go in different parts of the state. So at least once during the year, we are in your neck of the woods. We offer this as a virtual opportunity because we know so many of you wear so many hats. When crazy things like, snow at the beach happens, we have a plan B, so if you were not, we couldn't meet with you yesterday, you were able to join with us today. But if you're interested in hosting a meeting like this next year, we've already got our meeting set for this year. We'd love to hear from you if you've got a space. We also meet together as a group to think, okay, we've done some really great things, we hope, and we hope you see that, to give you the slides early, to make sure that we're not just throwing stuff at you. We want you to just be able to receive it. It is a lot of information. But I'm looking at Jack State. If Jack State can wave at me. There they are. We're considering, maybe in the future, with maybe doing it by each region and doing more of a remote opportunity so that all of the curriculum folks and instruction folks can get together, and then maybe we can just split up and support you that way. So we're thinking about lots of things as we continue to grow. We love that other sections are joining us because there's so much lapping of our work. And so please note that we're continuing to figure out how we can continue to grow and better serve you. But if you got a space, we'd love to hear about it. Sean, what else have I missed? Anything else that you can think of? Oh, thank you,
I can't think of anything. I hope that we've been able to be responsive to the questions that we've gotten, especially having almost 200 people all the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's great to have people be able to join virtually. And again, I hope that we're able to meet in person back in the Baldwin County area again, but and really just look forward to seeing everyone at some of these upcoming conferences that we have, and really hope that you'll come to Mega and send all your people to Mega as well.
Excuse me,
Absolutely.
Dr. Shields, if I may, I just wanted to share that the afternoon Counting on You session will begin at 1 o'clock using the same link. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes. We will stay. Now, if you come to our face-to-face, what we normally do is we break into tables and you just come find us. But we will stay. I know we're going to be using this link in just a minute, so it's a little bit different than it is more face-to-face. But if you do have questions, feel free to stay. We'll stay for a few minutes and answer them. Or you can use that form, because we are answering them as live as we can and posting them on that link that I shared at the beginning.
Good for recovery.
We want to thank each of you for participating. Yes, 200. The number has been coming and growing since we've joined today. Thank you for what you do every day. Know that we are here to support you, and we appreciate all of your efforts to just turn things around for children. We are really excited about some things that are on the horizon, and we're very excited to share with you. So stay tuned. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
With all the windows kind of towards the little center intersection out there.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Yes, we will be posting the recording. I'll have to do, the normal cleanup to get rid of the music and the break. But yeah, stand by. It should still be available on the live side of our YouTube channel. But then I'll go in and clean it up and put it on the just the list of regular videos as well.